The best day of the year is here. Selection Sunday. We are going to have a bracket in about an hour. Welcome into Chat Sports. I am Nick Rolofer. We are live for Selection Sunday as the 2025 NCAA tournament bracket will be revealed. Who will be the top overall seed? What teams will get in? There are a lot of big programs on the bubble this season with North Carolina, Texas, Ohio State, Indiana, all looking to make the tournament, but all will not be in the field of 68. We will be joined by Tyler Smith throughout today's show as we react to the end of this Big Ten title game, and as the 2025 tournament field will be revealed, we'll have region by region, matchup by matchup. We'll even give our quick thoughts on who is going to win this whole thing as well. And with that being said, I want to get the chat popping. I want to welcome in Tyler Smith as well. Smitty, how we doing on this fine Sunday where we're getting a bracket?
Feels like Christmas. I mean, you couldn't draw it up better than it is right now. We got teams on the bubble trying to get in, trying to avoid a bid stealer in this UAB in the AAC final. We got Michigan going to take home the Big Ten title, and you know what? This is the best time of the year. The best time to be a sports fan is right here, right now. This next 7-day stretch, it's magical.
It is absolutely magical. I'm seeing some teams already getting spammed down below. I see some Duke. I see some St. John's. I see multiple Dukes. I don't really like that whatsoever. That's just me. I'm not a Blue Devil guy, but Smitty, we know he is.
Yeah, I can't be mad.
We see Ohio State from Time and the Buckeye. I see UConn from my guy Duncan. Duncan was ready for the stream this year.
I saw that, yes.
Tagged me on Twitter asking if we were going to have a stream this year. Of course we will, Duncan. I see someone typing in Florida, the SEC champions. You could argue, Smitty, the best team playing in the field right now, either them or Duke, are coming in hot as a pistol. The Auburn Tigers, who have been the best team all year long, faltering down the stretch here, losing 3 of their last 4 games. We'll see how the committee reacts to those losses. Auburn, the presumed number 1 overall seed for the entire year, might maybe just be the 3rd overall seed.
There's a lot of potential to how this bracket ends up shaping out, but what I do know is that the committee doesn't like to take a lot of stock into the conference tournaments, and for me, I think that's kind of an issue, right? I think that these games matter, and they should matter as far as how your seeding goes. I know they already said that Wisconsin and Michigan, regardless of who the winner was, there would not be any movement really at all after the Big Ten title game just because of the time constraints of the bracket actually being revealed on television and this game hitting double zeros. But at the end of the day, I like to put importance into those games and how you are coming into March Madness and into the NCAA tournament. So, for a team like Auburn, who, like you said, is faltering down the stretch, they may, deserve a penalty for that. And for a team like Florida, who's blazing, throwing up 100-point games against some of the best teams in the country, they should be rewarded for those wins.
Yeah, absolutely. I see Illinois. I see UConn. I see Bryant Bulldogs.
Whoa!
How about that? Barry Evans. Yeah, we know some Bryant Bulldogs, former St. Bonaventure Bonnie.
Let's go.
You're talking to 2 Bonnies here on today's show. We got the Texas Longhorns who are on the bubble. We'll talk a lot about Texas. We'll talk about how they fare potentially making the tournament. We'll talk about the Volunteers as well, as they came up just short in the SEC title game today. But I do want to get a thought out there, Smitty. We mentioned Auburn. We mentioned Duke. Who is the best team in the country coming into this NCAA tournament? And maybe we should have put Florida on here to make it 4 teams. But these are the assumed top 3 seeds overall. Let us know in the chat, and then I'll ask you, Smitty, who you think is the best team in this tournament this year?
Honestly, man, they don't have the craziest resume overall against teams in the field, but the Duke Blue Devils, man, top to bottom, I think they have the best roster. They're the deepest roster, the most talented players, and at the top as well, with obviously Cooper Flagg, Colin Kneppel, Tyrese Proctor, Kamen Malowak. They have such top-end talent, but then you look to their bench, and they got guys like Caleb Foster, not even checking in until late in the second halves of some games. Isaiah Evans, who can light it up from distance. Malik Brown, hopefully he comes back from his shoulder injury. But, man, the way that they're playing without Cooper Flagg in the lineup in this ACC tournament, just running through, albeit in a weak ACC, it's hard for me to have any other team but Duke as the hottest team and best team overall heading into the dance.
Yeah, I would probably agree, and I would probably have them as my number 1 overall seed, which we will get to here in just a second as we have all of the conference championship games concluding. We mentioned it just a second ago. Michigan in the first year with Dusty May. What a turnaround there. They win the Big Ten championship. Memphis up 14 with 40 seconds to go against UAB. So not many bid stealers this year, Smitty. You can argue just one, that being the Colorado State Rams in the Mountain West, as they were on the first 4 out kind of projection by many bracketologists, now firmly in the field as an AQ. How will that force things out? But Memphis getting the AAC title, and we have all of our AQ set now, and it is 22 minutes away from finding out what at-large teams will be in. And I'll tell you what, if you are ready for the selection show, you want us to get this bracket revealed, we can't control when the CBS Sports crew comes up and announces it, but we certainly can get excited. 300 people watching, yet only 30 likes. Hit that thumbs up icon. Let's get to 150. We need to get at least a 50% like mark right now. I think that should be very much expected here, Smitty.
If you want your team to cut down some nets when it comes time to go to San Antonio, give us a like on the video. Go down below, smash that thumbs up button. Takes 2 seconds, totally free. Bringing you free NCAA selection show coverage here at Chat Sports, and we're happy to be here. Give us a like.
Yeah, it'd be greatly appreciated. Let's get to 150 likes right now. And I'll also say this, if you want to donate to the channel, that would be greatly appreciated. Any super chats will get on screen. We will talk about your team. Hey, super chat. Mention your favorite college, your favorite team. We'll give you your thoughts on them. I know a couple people in the chat have asked our thoughts on Illinois, on UConn. If you want us to break it down and get your thoughts on screen about the tournament and the bracket, Super Chats is a way to do that. We appreciate any donations there.
Can't answer every comment in the chat. Can't talk about every team. We'd be here for hours. I know me and you could both do it, but at the same time, we're on time constraints here, trying to keep it fresh and good for the people. So if you want to talk more in depth about your squad, Super Chats are very welcome.
I'll tell you what, once the bracket's revealed, we might have to put a timer on the show because we could be here till midnight talking about the bracket.
Oh.
But continue to hit that like button. Come on, folks. Let's get to 150 likes. We only are at 53. Hit that thumbs up icon. But I think it's a good time, Smitty, as we are 20 minutes away from the bracket getting announced. 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I think it's a good time to talk about the bubble. These are the 8 teams that are sweating it out coming into the day. Now, some teams probably have a stronger feeling than others. I would probably look at a team like Indiana, San Diego State, thinking they are fine. But the other 6 on this list, you don't know. Xavier really could have used that win in the Big East quarterfinals against Marquette. They ended up blowing a 14-point lead. Texas got a couple wins in the SEC tournament, but just fell short against the Tennessee Volunteers. UNC could have probably locked themselves in if they were able to beat Duke in that comeback attempt in the ACC semifinals, but ultimately couldn't do it. Pray for Jalen Withers. I know he's going through it right now. UC Irvine in the Big West couldn't beat UC San Diego, but Irvine does have a strong resume. Boise State and Ohio State also out there as well. Smitty, quick thoughts on these 8 bubble teams.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When I was looking at resumes and really doing my due diligence, researching the bubble and who should be in, who should be out, I'm not going to lie to you. This is one of the weaker bubbles that I've seen in quite some time. I mean, we have people championing for a 1-12 quad 1 team in the North Carolina Tar Heels to be in this dance, and like a team like Texas who has a sub 500 conference record, and not sub 500 by 1 or 2 games, sub 500 by 6 games. There were 6-12 in the SEC, and you can't have 13 SEC teams. That just feels like too much to me. You got to have some diversity in the dance. I'm not a big fan of those 2 high-profile programs who we'll see if the committee shows those brands some love rather than the actual basketball that's being played out there on the floor. Xavier came in, had an excellent end to their season. They were 14-10 at one point, and they finished the season, I believe the regular season, on a 7-game heater, and they really needed that win over Marquette to secure themselves in the field, but they'll be sweating now during the selection show. I like San Diego State. Obviously, the brand of basketball they play, slow, methodical, beat you down with defense. A really athletic team. Always love them out of the Mountain West. Boise State, they're different. I mean, they're more of a offensively minded team. I like Boise a lot, but I'm not sure if they're going to be very, very close to the line here, whether it's, last team in, first team out. Ohio State stinks, man. I'm not a big fan of the Buckeyes. UC Irvine didn't have as good of a resume, especially in the non-con, as some of these other teams. In Indiana, Mike Woodson, they're playing for their coach over there in Bloomington. I'm not sure that their resume is exactly great enough in a good bubble year. If there were bid stealers, man, like a lot of these teams would have no chance at getting in the field.
Yeah, you mentioned not many bid stealers here, and I think this is a fun game to play here, which is the bubble blind resume. Now, we have hand-selected 4 teams from this list of 8 to take a look at their resume and what teams deserve to get in without knowing the actual school. You might think differently of a program just because of how high notoriety they are. So when we look at teams 1, 2, 3, and 4 here, we'll reveal them here in just a second. But I do want to get your thoughts on which one is the best before we reveal them, Smitty.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look at these with the question marks up top, and right off the rip, man. Like maybe I spoiled it for those who were listening closely just a little bit ago. But 1-12 in quad 1, man, you can't win the big one. You've had opportunity after opportunity to do so. I mean, think about team 2, who only has 9 quad 1 opportunities, and that's still a good bit, and it can get you into the dance. But to have 13 and only come out one time, and they still have the metrics favoring you the way that they do, it rubs me the wrong way. I don't think that team should be in the field. Even a team that's 4-13 overall in quad 1 isn't great, and the metrics are favoring them a lot worse. Now, Team 1 and Team 2 are definitely the two that I would favor if you had to cut 2 and put 2 in the field. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's a weak bubble, so these none of these teams incredibly impress me. But at least two of them I think have to get in.
Yeah, I mean, 2 of these teams will be getting in, Smitty. This is why we chose these 4 teams, because they are very much on and off of the bubble. When I'm looking at these 2 teams, or 4 teams, there's 2 that stand out to me. And you mentioned those quad 1 opportunities. Teams 1 and teams 4 had a lot of opportunities, yet only 1 win.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Team 2 didn't have that many opportunities, but capitalized, having 3 quad 1 wins. Team 3 had tons of volume, so naturally they're going to get more wins, but the metrics don't actually favor them in terms of that net and KenPom ratings. And Smitty, before we reveal these blind resumes,
sure,
I want to get the weigh-in up for the people in the chat to see which resume is the best. Look at it one last time. Teams 1, Team 2, Team 3, and 4. Quad 1 opportunity is something the committee looks at in a great deal. Net ranking would be another one of the top ones up there, and I like to throw KenPom as well, as he does a great job kind of using analytics to adjust every single team. What team out there has the best blind resume, 1, 2, 3, or 4? I would actually lean, Smitty, blind resume, which I fooled myself because in my own head, and I know what the answers are here, I don't like this team whatsoever. But I think the best resume is actually Team 2.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you go 50% in quad 1. That's good enough for me to get in the dance, especially when you have 9 opportunities. Like, I'll take that every single time. You just got to be able to beat good teams to have the chance to go play good teams in the tournament. And, Team 1, Team 4, they didn't do that. Obviously, Team 3 had 17 opportunities, so that's a ton. They're naturally going to get more wins, but they still have 13 losses as well. None of those teams impress me, because I know the answers too. None of them impress me when I see them out on the floor. But, like we said, some of them got to get in. No bid stealers this year, so we're going to be deliberating over a bunch of trash, it seems, to get in the last 4 in.
Yeah, my guy Mike Dibble, who loves the March Madness tournament. Appreciate Dibble for tuning in, as he always does. He's saying 2. My guy Mitchell Renz is saying 2. Duncan is saying 3. Ty Man rocking with 2. I'm seeing a couple other 2s as well. People asking what the actual teams are. And I think that is a good time, as I think it seems pretty consensus in the live chat that number 2 is the team that is at least ranked the highest according to the people in the chat. So let's reveal the bubble blind resume that just showed. That team number 2 was actually the Boise State Broncos. We looked at Xavier, Boise State, Indiana, and North Carolina. Most of the people chose number 2. So if you were a Boise State fan who was on the last 4 in coming into this weekend, made the Mountain West Championship game, could have clinched a spot with a win over Colorado State on Saturday evening, was not able to, and will now be potentially heading to Dayton if they make the tournament. I believe the Boise State Broncos will be in. The question is, what teams of the other three on this grouping, North Carolina, Indiana, Xavier, if any, are going to get in? And I think this is a fun experiment to show you the blind bubble, look at the resumes, and then me and Smitty collaborated. We looked at everything, all the metrics, and this is our projection, the Chat Sports projection for who gets in the tournament, last four in, heading to Dayton, and who are the first four teams out of the tournament. And as we mentioned, we have Boise State in. We do have Xavier and Indiana in as well, with San Diego State being the first team to just miss or not having to go to Dayton. And then the first four out, North Carolina, Texas, Ohio State, and the Big West runner-ups, UC Irvine. Smitty, your thoughts?
Okay, so my thoughts are this. Like, the committee, they don't want this last four in. They want Carolina in. They want Texas in. They want the big money and the ratings and the big draws. I just don't think those teams are good enough to be in the dance. Like I said about Texas, 6-12 in conference. And I know it's the SEC. I know it's the big dogs. They have more quad wins than any of the four that we talked about just now. But I think they have 7 quad wins, and I don't think any team in the tournament history has ever been left out with that many quad wins. But they have a lot of bad losses too. Like, they're one of the more inconsistent teams in the country, and I feel it feels like they had to win 3 games in the SEC tournament. They only won 2, so that's why, from my point of view, that they are out. Carolina needed that win over Duke. They had it in the final couple seconds, and they blew it. And you know what? For mid-major fans like ourselves, getting 2 Mountain West teams playing in Dayton is awesome. Then you have Xavier, who obviously is a Big East team, not exactly a mid-major, but another small school with a lot of basketball pride that I love to see in there. And then Indiana in Mike Woodson's final season as head coach, getting to Dayton as well. I like what we came up with, and I think it's the right move. However, the committee, we all know how they like to favor big schools.
Yeah, we'll get Mitchell Renz's super chat on screen here in just a second. But before we do that, quick thoughts. I'd be fascinated to see if this would actually be the last four in by the committee, because obviously they are not going to have 2 Mountain West teams play each other. So matchups between either San Diego State and Xavier, San Diego State and Indiana, and then either Boise State Xavier or Boise State Indiana would be very fun matchups. The Mountain West will actually likely have more teams in this tournament than the ACC. That conference likely only getting 3 teams: Clemson, Clemson, Louisville, and Duke, the only locks. North Carolina vying to be that 4th team. Mountain West already has Colorado State. They have Utah State, and then probably 1 or 2 more here on the bubble. But these are the Chat Sports projections. As we do have 1,100 people watching, appreciate everyone tuning in here as we are getting closer and closer to the bracket reveal, 10 minutes away from the top of the hour where we will start to get things rolling in here. And I just do want to remind people to hit that thumbs up icon if you're ready for the selection show to get underway, the bracket to officially be revealed. Like the stream, like the video, because it's greatly appreciated. We're here for free on YouTube, and the best way to get more people tuning in to our show is hitting that like button, pushing it out to YouTube. We have 1,100 people watching. We should be at 500 likes. Come on, help us out, grow the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. As we are set to get things going here, I love the cameras just being panned to all these locker rooms, all these arenas of the AQs, waiting to see where they will end up going next week to play in the NCAA tournament. I also feel horrible for the AQs that have to go to Dayton in terms of the 16th seed. I'll be honest, one of my hottest takes when it comes to the NCAA tournament is that I don't think any 16 seeds should have to play in Dayton. They won their conference tournament. They're an automatic qualifier. Let them just go straight to the round of 64. If you still wanted to have all the other games, we'll just make it the last 8 at-large teams have to go to Dayton. That's my personal hot take. You guys can let me know your thoughts on that down in the comment section. But here is the super chat from Mitchell Renz, $5 saying, let's go Duke. Mitch rocking with the Dukies, who seem to be everyone's trendy pick to be the number 1 overall seed. And it's likely with Auburn losing 3 of their last 4. Remember also, I know it was earlier in the season, Smitty, but Duke did beat Auburn in Cameron earlier in the non-con schedule, so they have the edge in that department as well. I think Blue Devil fans will be very happy with how things shake out in the next 30 minutes. I believe they are going to be the number 1 overall seed in the East region, and they'll be playing in Newark hopefully in the second weekend.
I hope so as well. I mean, listen, they are going to, and for those wondering, Cooper Flagg, he will be available for the NCAA tournament. I don't know, and I would caution against, to be quite honest, playing him in that 16-seed game. We've watched Duke without Flagg over the last 2 games really just take it to different ACC opponents. I wouldn't be worried about sitting him out for a 16-seed game. You could even argue, based on matchups, that I would maybe hold him out of the Friday or Saturday game as well. But, there is a lot of teams along that 8-9 line that could possibly, have some elite coaching, elite history, championship-level pedigree that could be, kind of a nightmare scenario for a lot of these 1 seeds.
Yeah, and look at this, Smitty. We got a $50 super chat from the legend himself, Mike Dibble, saying, Mitch, you were not loud enough. Let's go, Duke. Let's go, Duke. Let's go, Duke. You know what the stunning part of this is, Smitty, is I know Mike Dibble, and he's an NC State fan.
Whoa!
So I don't understand why he's rooting for Duke. Dibble, I need you to answer for this super chat. I appreciate it. You know what, Smitty? In the spirit of the Selection Sunday show, Dibble sent it a $50 super chat. I'm going to take down a beer bong.
Okay.
So, Justin, could you do me a favor and go grab a beer bong for me? That would be
You might want to
something.
grab a second one, my
Grab
friend.
a second one. But, Dibble, I need you to answer for your crimes of rooting for Duke after being an open NC State fan. I know this for a fact because the last 2 years he's been in my ear on the Selection Sunday show about NC State. So I don't understand where he's getting with this.
You make a Final Four, have a disappointing season, fire your coach, and now you're saying go Duke?
I don't understand it.
I'm a Duke guy. I'll gladly take you along on the train, but man, That's a little fraudulent. And I don't mean to use the F word lightly, but that's a little fraudulent, Mike. You better explain yourself here.
But how about this, Smitty? Our own Mitchell Renz $100 super chat. Bang! Devil, is this loud enough? Let's go, Duke. Let's go, Duke. Let's go, Duke.
Let's go, baby.
We are gonna have a beer bong race. I
guess so.
You could take this. Cool. Justin, just grab the beer bongs. We'll then grab the beers. But with 5.5 minutes before we do that, I do want to actually showcase a couple things here.
Sure.
Would you rather do the dark horses or would you rather do the fraud, Smitty? Because we probably only have time for one.
I feel like dark horses will be.
Let's go dark horses. All right,
Yeah.
so we came up with a list of dark horse teams going into the tournament that we know will be playing that I wanted to talk about before we actually have the bracket revealed. And we'll start with mine here with the 1,400 people watching. My number 1 dark horse is Colorado State. They are the Mountain West champion, the automatic qualifier. They were not expected to make the tournament. They were actually on the first 4 out coming into the Mountain West tournament. They did what they needed to do. They needed to win. I love them a lot. They have NBA caliber players in terms of Nick Clifford. He will likely be the best player in any game they play. They're one of the hottest teams in the country, winning 8, I think, or 9
It's 9 straight, I think, now.
After the Mountain West tournament, they have beaten really good teams, had a bad non-con, but played extremely well in the Mountain West. They just went on a run of beating Utah State by double digits, and then they defeated, I'm spacing here, Boise State in the title game. So they're beating teams in the field. I really like Colorado State. I also like Maryland, who has statistically the number 1 5-man lineup in the entire country with Reese, Queen, Rice. They are unbelievably good. I think they're going to be a 4 or 5 seed, and I will like them heading in to their matchups. And then BYU is a team playing very, very well. Yes, got blown against Houston in the semifinals of the Big 12 tournament, but I like the way they're playing. Oregon, Dana Altman doesn't lose in the first weekend.
Pencil them in.
They're playing really good basketball. And then Gonzaga, who is probably going to be a 7 seed, maybe even an 8 seed. But boy, oh boy, do the metrics love them. And they're playing good ball down the stretch, winners of the WCC.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of these teams, and I wanted to go, at least a bunch of different ones rather than you. I like Gonzaga. They have veteran experience. I mean, Mark Few's been to more second weekends than like 99% of the coaches that'll be in the field this time around. And Oregon, like I said, pencil him in for the second weekend. BYU's got NBA talent on the squad. Maryland's got a top-heavy team, which also has NBA talent, and so does Colorado State, which I guess is an easy way for me to parlay to mine, but I feel like we have to get somewhere first.
Yeah, we might have to take a quick detour here as we are 3.5 minutes away from the bracket reveal because we have the unbelievable. I don't know if I have the adjectives, the words to describe this man, because Mike Dibble! $200 super chat! Bang! Bang! Oh my goodness! No, it was not, and I am rooting for Duke because I will happily root for the ACC if NC State is not in the tournament, and Duke is our best shot, so let's go Duke. Let's go Duke. I didn't anticipate Dibble being a guy who rooted for the conference, but here we are, so I guess he'll be rooting for Louisville and Clemson as well.
I guess so.
The only thing I have to ask you, Dibble, would you ever root for North Carolina as well?
There's bad blood there.
I mean, there's a lot of bad blood there.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. Smitty, I'm going to start filling up my beer bongs. You quickly go through your dark horses because then we have that other thing we have to do with 2 minutes to go until we go.
Absolutely. Arizona off the rip is where I'm going to start things. And you see, I do have Colorado State as well. I'll get to them in a moment. But Arizona, man, they have been playing some of their best basketball toward the end of the season. Closed the Big 12 regular season very, very well. Got big wins over Texas Tech in the Big 12 tournament. And they fell to a Houston team that's virtually unbeatable. They've only have one loss in Big 12 play. And they kind of just got ice cold down the stretch. But they do have Caleb Love. They got a guy who can hit big shots and get hot at any moment. I like Arizona. This feels like a year where they're going to pile it on. VCU just won the Atlantic 10, and they have a plethora of elite guards. Joe Bamisil, Max Shulga, who both can operate and facilitate an offense. Then you got guys like Philip Russell, Jack Clark, who can hit the outside shot. Not necessarily one of the bigger teams, but if they match up against another team that's kind of like their style, not as size heavy, VCU could go light it up, and I think they have a Sweet 16, Elite 8 ceiling. And I have a bunch of these mid-majors in here, right? VCU, Colorado State, UC San Diego. But these are mid-majors who are playing at high major levels. UC San Diego has all season long made quick work, easy work of UC Irvine, a team that people think should be in the field, and they have been playing at an elite level all the way back dating to November. Like Rolly said with Colorado State, Nick Clifford, dog. Like, he's going to be the best player on the floor. They can hit shots and go on crazy runs and blow a lot of teams out of the water. And then the Creighton Blue Jays, like another coach in Greg McDermott, you can just pencil in for the second weekend. Time and time again, they have an elite rim protector in Ryan Kalkbrenner. They have good guard play with Stephen Ashworth, and they have good players around the margins as well. I'm fired up about these teams.
Yeah, and we are getting closer and closer. 30 seconds until the bracket reveal. If you are ready for the bracket to officially be shown, spam those me's down in the comment section. 2,700 people watching. We're going to start giving out some shout-outs. But before we do that, I do got to give a quick beer bong for Mike Dibble. Shout out to Dibble. I'm going to do another one, Dibble, but I got to get one here quickly for you.
We'll get you later, brother. I got you right here, too. Cheers.
Shout out to you, Dibble, Josh, Tyler, Alice, Carlos, Tom, Matthew, King, Dibble, Gregory, Ashton, Carlos, Tyman, GR, Lisa, Josh, Tyler, Braxton, Lisa, Nathan, Alice, Jay. All right, it is 5 o'clock, which means it's almost time. Let's do this thing, folks. We're waiting for CBS to get on, but let's do it. It is the top of the hour. It is almost time for the bracket to be revealed. So many teams have played all year long, spanning from November to March, all vying for a spot in the 68-team field to compete for a national champion. And just in a couple moments, we will have the bracket be revealed. Who will be the number 1 overall seed? Will it be Auburn, Duke, Houston, or the SEC champions, the Florida Gators? The bubble loaded with big-time programs. Ohio State, Texas, North Carolina, Indiana, some other bubble teams like San Diego State, Boise State, Xavier. Who will be in, who will be out, who will be going to Dayton to play in the first four this Tuesday and Wednesday. We will have you covered with the full bracket reveal, breakdowns, and analysis on this stream. And as we welcome in more viewers here at the top of the hour, I want everyone to shout out your favorite team for me down in the comment section. Nick Roloff here with Tyler Smith, the two people that watch college basketball the most here at Chat Sports. I don't think that can be debated, are going to be here to break it down as Adam Zucker, Clark Kellogg, Seth Davis, and Jay Wright are here to announce the 68-team field in just a few moments. We're going to show you guys what happened and talk about each individual matchup as well.
And to kind of open the show here, and as we just rattled off those names of the broadcasting legends that will be revealing the bracket, wanted to another rest in peace and show some love to Greg Gumbel, who we will not be seeing on the selection show this year for the first time and what feels like ever on CBS. So prayers up to him, and let's have a good bracket, let's have a good tournament, and dedicate it to him.
Yeah, well said there, Smitty. 3,500 people watching. If you're excited, hit that thumbs up icon, folks. Also, make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we will be here breaking down everything you need in the sports world.
Let's go.
I mean, 3,800 people just ready to see this 68-team field. I could not be more excited.
This is awesome.
Do you remember how quickly they get into it? Is it like, do they give it 10, 15 minutes?
I think that they give it like only 5.
I was going to say, I feel like they usually announce the bracket very, very soon. I'm hearing it is such a bummer, and do want to give the prayers up to Greg Gumbel and his family. But, man, it's a fun time here. We talked about the bubble, the 8 teams. You want to just flash that real quick, Smitty,
Sure.
for the people that are just joining us? Let's go our last 4 in projections here.
All right, last 4 in. We got this right here.
Yeah, these are our Chat Sports projections. Last 4 in, San Diego State, Indiana. Oh, they're getting right into it, Smitty.
Right into it.
And the number 1 overall seed will actually be the Auburn Tigers, Smitty, in the South region.
Oh, my goodness.
That is a interesting move there. They get the number 1 seed, even though they lost 3 of their last 4. They will be playing the winner of the first 4, Alabama State, St. Francis, PA matchup. So there's your first matchup, 116. Auburn taking on the winner of St. Francis, PA, Alabama State in the South region. That will be in Lexington, Kentucky on Thursday. Oh, my goodness, Smitty. The Louisville Cardinals are the 8th seed in the South region. I am absolutely stunned that Louisville is on the 8 line.
That feels low, no?
That feels extremely low. Creighton will be the 9 seed in that region. Lexington, Kentucky on Thursday. Louisville Creighton is the 8-9. The winner of that will likely be playing the Auburn Tigers. I am stunned that Louisville is that low. And your Big Ten champions, the Michigan Wolverines, who is 25-9, just defeated Wisconsin moments ago. They will be the 5th seed in the South region. They are playing in Denver, Colorado on Thursday. They will be taking on the 12th seed. I don't think they'll make it Colorado State. They don't want to make it a home game because it will be UC San Diego. The Big West champion, 30-4, one of the best players in the country in terms of Alan Trate Jones. So be on the lookout for that potential upset. That will be a fun one between UC San Diego and Michigan on Thursday in Denver. The 4th seed in the South region, Texas A&M. The 22-10 Aggies, who got bounced early in the SEC tournament, still get the 4 seed. I'm a little bit lower than most on A&M, and I will have them on upset alert watch as they will be taking on the Yale Bulldogs, the Ivy League champions. And if you remember just 1 year ago, Smitty, Yale took down Auburn in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
Yes, they did, and they play an elite brand of basketball, can hit a ton of shots. They're really, really good.
We'll get to the bottom part of the South region where we'll have another SEC team, Ole Miss, 6th seed, 22-11. And oh my, Smitty, North Carolina is in the field.
Oh my God.
Oh my! San Diego State, North Carolina in the first four in Dayton. I am appalled.
Stunned that Carolina gets in the field.
UNC is in the field despite having a 1-12 record in quad one opportunities. This is a mistake by the committee. I'm honestly disgusted, but we'll keep it rolling. Iowa State is the third seed. They will be playing these games in Milwaukee on Friday. They will take on the ASUN champions, Lipscomb, which I'm a fan of Lipscomb.
They can shoot the pill.
It's a tough matchup for Iowa State. We'll round out the bottom of this bracket with a 7-seeded Big East team, Marquette. They'll be taking on New Mexico, the Lobos, and at large from the Mountain West, 26-7 in Cleveland, Ohio on Friday.
I love the Lobos.
That's a fun game right
That
there.
Wow. Take the over.
In the second seed, Michigan State, the team that looked like they were going to coast to a Big Ten title, come up just short after losing in the semifinals to Wisconsin. This Tom Izzo club is very, very good, and boy, am I salivating at a potential Michigan State-Auburn Elite Eight
Oh,
game.
yeah.
But
Physical.
They'll be taking on the Bulldogs. Brian, with Barry Evans and company, are taking on Izzo. That is your first region. Auburn, the number 1 overall seed in the South, taking on Alabama State, St. Francis, PA winner. Louisville Creighton, I'm shocked that Louisville is on the 8 line. And they gave, we'll get to in just a second, but Michigan, UC San Diego in the 5-12, Texas A&M Yale in the 4-13, and the bottom of the South, Ole Miss playing the winner in the first 4, San Diego State and North Carolina. Iowa State and Lipscomb in the 3-14, and then you round it out with Marquette, New Mexico, and then Michigan State and Bryant. And I want to focus in on this, Smitty, right here, because to me, I don't get the committee's thinking whatsoever. North Carolina, from a weak ACC conference, gets in despite being 1-12 in quad one opportunities, yet they discredit Louisville, who has been unbelievable all year, good in the non-con as well. They get underseeded on the 8 line, which is, to me, Smitty, them kind of going against the ACC, but then they go for the ACC, putting North Carolina in.
I mean, this is a travesty by the committee, man. They're basically telling people, especially these mid-majors, and we'll see what happens with a Boise State or UC Irvine or even a Xavier for that matter, that you don't have to win big games. And Carolina hasn't done that this year, and they're in the field somehow. I'm disgusted.
Yeah, it does not feel good. I'm not happy about this whatsoever. If they had a team name like Vanderbilt with that resume, they would not be getting in the tournament whatsoever.
No.
In between the next region being announced, we do want to make sure you are subscribed. We have 9,500 people watching. We are bringing you coverage in the sports world every single day, whether it is March Madness, whether it is NFL, NBA. We will have you covered. So hit that sub button. Join the channel right now. 401,000 plus. Let's get the 402,000 subscribers, Smitty.
Let me get something up here for the kids.
We got 139 subscribers away from 402,000. I'll tell you what, we did a beer bong for Mike Dibble. We did a beer bong for Mitchell Renz. If we get to 402,000 subscribers on today's stream, Smitty, we are going to do another beer bong.
Okay, we
can guarantee that.
I can make that happen.
Hit that sub button. We're under 100 away. Smitty is about to get it on screen. We're rolling in the subscribers right now.
Rolling.
Let's go. Hit that sub button. Come on. Join the channel. Let's get to 402,000 before. Smitty, honestly, I just say put it up right now because this number's climbing.
Yep.
Put it up. We got 58 away. Let's get to 402,000 subscribers. We're under 50 away. Let's get to the number before we get to the next bracket. We're already under 10 away. We're already under 10 away. There we go. We got it. There we go, baby. Let's go.
This is March.
Appreciate all of the new subscribers. You will not be Disappointed.
Lock us in.
We still got 3 more brackets to go over. We
Let's
will
go.
go over the entire field of 68 after the fact. But me and Smitty came here live on Sunday to break down the bracket. So we appreciate all the new subscribers, all the new viewers. I still am so upset that North Carolina got in.
I mean,
It's just a travesty to the sport, unfortunately.
It is a travesty to the sport. We get this once every couple of years, man, where a team that just outwardly does not deserve to be in the field somehow gets in because of the big brand. And you know what? That big Jordan logo is going to go a long way there in Dayton. I bet you San Diego State cooks them.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting matchup. We will have one more first 4 matchup between at-large bids to discuss. We'll see what region that ultimately comes in. But I'll say this, folks. I said we'd do a beer bong if we got to 402,000 subscribers. I'm about to do it right now. If we get to 403,000 subscribers, I'll do another.
F it.
We're under 800 away. Continue to hit that sub button as we have 3 more regions to reveal. Shout out to all the new subscribers.
Let's go, man.
This is why you subscribe, Smitty. You got analysis, you got breakdown commentary, and
a little bit of fun.
got a little bit of fun as well.
Let's do it.
Shout out to all
Cheers.
you guys.
Let's go, man.
Let's go, let's
This
go.
is March.
This is how we do it here
Who's ready to go dancing,
at
man?
Chat Sports. I mean, you talk about it, these games. Did they say it? They didn't say when the games are the first 4 yet. They didn't announce that, did they?
No, but they're gonna be.
Wait, actually, you could go back to this. If we go quickly, when are they playing that game on if they win? Because then it would determine if they're playing on Wednesday or Tuesday.
We'll know where they'll be at. So that'd be Friday. So this will be the Wednesday
It'd be
game.
Wednesday's game. All right, we do have the East region being announced, the number 2 overall seed. This is a little bit shocking. I thought they were going to be the number 1 seed, but it is going to be the Duke Blue Devils, the ACC champions, 31-3. What is Cooper Flagg's health status? That will be something we monitor.
Let's
the
go.
16 seed they will be playing will be the winner of American versus Mount St. Mary's, a first 4 game there. That will be a unfortunate murder of those 2 teams. The 8-seeded Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Oh, they're giving Duke the path right now.
Oh, Smitty's getting giddy over here. I can't stand it. Mississippi State up and down season in the SEC, 21-12. They will be taking on Baylor, which I'm actually shocked, Smitty. Baylor gets a 9 seed. I thought they were going to be on the 10 line.
Yeah.
Scott Drew's club is 19-14. In Oregon, that's where we go next. They will be playing on Friday. A very hot ball club will be playing Liberty in Seattle, Washington, 28-6. Liberty played very well down the stretch of this year. Oregon, that's going to be a fun game, man. I was going to already pencil in Liberty as a potential upset, but you also can't pick against Dana Altman.
I mean, Dana Altman is one of the most methodical coaches in the sport.
How about this potential matchup? Because Arizona, 22-12, is the 4th seed in that region, and they'll be taking on the Zips, Akron, who will be coming in with a 28-6 record. That's not going to be an easy matchup for the Wildcats there. And boy, would that Sunday matchup between Oregon and Arizona potentially being a lot of fun.
That'd be so much fun. I can't wait.
The 6th seed as we get to the bottom of this East region, BYU, the Cougars, who made a deep run here in the Big 12 this past season. 24-9, one of the hottest teams in the country. They'll be playing in Denver, Colorado against the 11th-seeded VCU Rams, the A-10 champions.
We knew this was going to happen.
Probably was going to be in the tournament regardless as an at-large potentially, but they get in 28-6. Max Shulga and company are going to look to get a win against BYU. As we move to the 3 seed, who will be playing on Thursday, the Big Ten runner-ups, the Wisconsin Badgers. I always feel terrible for these kids. They just lost the Big Ten championship. All right, time to show you on the big screen, CBS, in front of millions of people as you are just, they're so disappointed. They'll be taking on Montana, the 14 seed, 25-9 in Denver, Colorado on Thursday. I tell you what, Smitty, BYU, Wisconsin, VCU, fun games there.
I agree.
St. Mary's out of the WCC came up short in their conference title game, losing to Gonzaga after beating the Bulldogs in their 2 regular season matchups. They'll be playing on Friday in Cleveland, Ohio, against the Vanderbilt, the Commodores out of the SEC.
This game is greasy, let me tell you that.
St. Mary's Vanderbilt on Friday. That screams first game of the day.
Yep, that screams 12:40 on a Friday.
That screams first game of the day. Vanderbilt, sneaky good team, though, so I wouldn't be shocked if they are able to get a win there. The 2 seed in the East region. It's going to be Alabama, the Crimson Tide.
Man.
They will be at the bottom of that bracket.
Duke, Alabama, potential Elite Eight. Oh, my God.
I mean, you never get the 1-2s, but I tell you what, if you were to just see the first 2 regions, Auburn, Michigan State, Alabama, Duke, are you kidding me?
It could be prime for some primetime matchups.
The Crimson Tide will be playing Robert Morris, 26-8. That is in Cleveland, Ohio on Friday. So the full bracket here in the East region, Duke is the number 1 overall seed. They'll be playing likely the winner of Mississippi State Baylor unless Duke somehow got upset. Oregon Liberty in the 5-12, and then Arizona Akron. Early thoughts here. I'm going to find it hard for me to find a different region that has more stacked teams. I'm a big fan of Oregon. I'm a big fan of Arizona, Duke, Alabama, BYU. I think got underseeded. I thought they should have been on the 5 line, but they end up in the 6 line here. To me, when you talk about the bracket of death, or whatever you want to call it.
The region of death, yep.
Region of death, East region, I think is going to be that region.
I mean, you got a team like VCU who could, they could upset Wisconsin the following week, punch them in the mouth defensively, and, that they have the talent to match them. I kind of like VCU maybe getting to the second weekend here.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup here. Full first 2 brackets in regions revealed. Number 1 overall seed obviously was Auburn in the South. East region here for Duke. 1,100 people watching.
11,000 people watching.
Oh, yeah, I mean, my math just talk about this is why we talk about sports. You put numbers in front of me, and I start to have issues here. Smitty, first 2 regions revealed. What's your number 1 takeaway thus far?
Oh man, I think it hurts to kind of agree with you here, but man, this East region is absolutely stacked. I mean, you have a lot of contrasting styles playing each other in these first round matchups, especially if you look to a game like Texas A&M, Yale in the South region, or a Mississippi State, Baylor. Oregon Liberty is a really contrasting styles of play as well. Like there's going to be a lot of interesting games, and what's going to determine a lot of the winners here is who can dictate pace and tempo. All
right, as we are 2 regions revealed, let's get the chat fired up here, folks. Shout out your favorite team. Let me say, I want to know who y'all are rocking with this March. We have the East, we have the South revealed. Who is your favorite squad? 11,700 people watching. Said it right this time.
Let's go.
What's your squad? I'll give some shout-outs. I'll read it out. It's going to be hard to read out because you guys are bringing it early.
They're lighting up.
But I see St. Bonaventure. I see the Gators. I see Gonzaga, Missouri, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Michigan, Oregon. Gators.
Look at the bedlam in the chat. Look at the bedlam.
It's chaos. The Fighting Illini, Memphis, who won the AAC earlier today against UAB. Duke, North Carolina, Ohio State, the Colorado State Rams from Jonah. I'm a Ram guy myself. I wouldn't say it's my favorite team, but I do like.
There will be a rooting interest from us.
I will be rooting for Colorado State no matter what.
Arkansas State, they didn't even make the dance, baby. They lost in the Sun Belt Final.
Hodgson can't get it done, loses the big game 2 years in a row.
Oh.
UCLA Bruins, I see Pittsburgh not making the tournament this year. UCLA will be in the field. We'll see where they end up going. St. Peter's, look at that.
I saw a couple Arkansas. Well, they're going to be close to that 10-11 line.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see there. I would not have them in. I think they stink.
Oh, they're terrible.
They're going to be in.
They're on my frauds list. We didn't get to the frauds list.
I see back-to-back St. John's, the Big East champions, which, by the way, as someone who pre-called St. John's to make the Final Four before the year started, I have multiple witnesses.
There's receipts and proof.
I am someone very excited about this because I truly believe they can get to the Final Four. They just needed to, in my opinion, avoid Duke and Auburn's bracket, and we've gotten them revealed, and St. John's is yet to be revealed as well.
They did.
So I feel good about the Johnny's chances, who I would argue the best defense in the country. If they have any type of good shooting, they are almost unbeatable.
So that's the thing, though. I do believe that there are flaws with this St. John's team, and every game they basically play in, especially their losses as well, which it could be a positive indicator, but they have 4 losses this season by a combined 7 points. And I know, like, you part of me is like, you want to get blown out a couple times to kind of get a reset going. And when you're losing all these close games, like, they're not a good free throw shooting team. Patino's talked about that all year. They're not a good three-point shooting team. So if they get matched up with a team in the round of 64, round of 32, that could just light it up from outside and they get hot for 40 minutes, St. John's could be out before the second weekend.
Yeah. Okay, so 10,000 people still watching. We're 2 regions revealed, East and South. Let's relook at them real quick before we get our third region, which will likely be Houston, the winners of the Big 12 championship just a couple days ago. Duke is the number 2 overall 1 seed, but Auburn gets the number 1 overall seed. This is how the top of their bracket looks in the South. Michigan, the Big 10 champions, are the 5 seed playing the Big West champions, UC San Diego, which will be a fascinating matchup. Texas A&M taking on Yale, the Ivy League champions who beat the Cornell Big Red. Shout out Nathan Solomon earlier today. And then the bottom of this bracket, North Carolina, San Diego State in the first 4 taking on Ole Miss, Iowa State Lipscomb, Marquette, New Mexico, and then Michigan State Bryant. And then in the East, Duke, Mississippi State. You see it on here. It'll be very interesting. But we do have the next region to be revealed, and we will be likely going over to the Houston Cougars.
Would that be the South?
The Big 12
the
champions.
West, or
that would be the Midwest.
The Midwest.
I would believe they would choose the Midwest over the West, but I guess you would never know. Houston, they played incredible. Yes, it will be the Midwest region. Houston, the number 1 seed in the Midwest. They'll be playing on Thursday in Wichita, Kansas. See the 16 seed they'll be playing. It'll be SIU Edwardsville. How about this one?
First-time dancers. First-time dancers, SIUE. And you know what? I honestly thought they could have potentially got a 15 seed. In
good for them, though. First-time dancers not having to play in Dayton.
Yeah.
Wow, Gonzaga on the 8 line. They'll be the early game there on Thursday in Wichita, Kansas. 25-8 record. They got hot late. They're metrics darlings despite having a down year for their standards. I don't know who the 9 seed is going to be yet. They have yet to say, but Houston Gonzaga could be fun on Saturday.
Show me Arkansas.
We're going to see Georgia, the Bulldogs. It's a Bulldog matchup.
It's a Bulldog on Bulldog crime right there.
Oh, we'll see who the better Bulldog there. 20-12 Georgia. That's going to be a fun matchup on the interior. Asa Newell, NBA prospect, taking on Graham Ike. We'll have the 5 seed be Clemson. So they get seeded. So Louisville's on the 8 line.
Yeah.
Clemson on the 5 line. Make that make sense.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Both underseeded.
On Thursday, they'll be playing in Providence, Rhode Island, taking on McNeese, 27-6. McNeese was picked to win in the first round last year quite a bit, playing Gonzaga. Fun fact.
Yeah.
That will be another popular upset pick.
McNeese is beating them.
Purdue is the 4 seed. Purdue should not be a 4 seed. I mean, this is a joke.
I honestly would swap Clemson-Purdue.
I'll have more thoughts on this in a second, but Purdue should not be on the 4 line. They'll be taking on High Point, another team dancing for the first time, Smitty.
That's a brutal matchup for High Point to get a hot shooting team that can kind of go bar for bar, band for band with Purdue, with High Point.
Yeah, so they'll be playing Thursday in Providence, Rhode Island. As we get to the bottom of this Midwest region, Friday in Milwaukee, Illinois, 6 seed. Could have wondered if they dropped down to the 7 line after a bad showing against the Maryland Terrapins in the semi or quarterfinals of that tournament. And then we have, oh my, Smitty! Oh, Texas Xavier in the field.
You've got to be kidding.
I am absolutely stunned by what I have seen from the committee when it comes to the last 4 in. Texas, Xavier, North Carolina, San Diego State, which likely means we are not going to be seeing Boise State in the field, and I don't think we'll be seeing Indiana.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. The 3 seed playing in Milwaukee, Kentucky. And I tell you what, I don't know if it will happen, but a Kentucky-Illinois second-round game, you want to talk about high-scoring, fast-paced.
Oh my goodness.
They'll be playing on the Trojans of Troy, 23-10. Troy is a sneaky good team, though, Smitty.
Yep, physical.
Could Kentucky be on upset watch early on once again? 7 seed in Lexington, Kentucky will be the UCLA Bruins.
They're fraudulent.
Smitty is not a fan of UCLA. They'll be playing the Mountain West Utah State, 26-7.
Both these teams stink.
That'll be a low-scoring game. And then the 2 seed in this region will be the Tennessee Volunteers, who you might have thought could have been on the 1 line if they beat Florida today in the SEC title game. They lose, and they'll be the 2 seed in the Midwest region, taking on the Wofford Terriers.
The Terriers might get an upset. This is a greasy region, let me tell you.
The Midwest, I tell you what, I am still just trying to wrap my head around the committee's last 4 in being San Diego State, North Carolina, Texas, and Xavier.
I'm not surprised one bit. I'm not surprised one bit that the committee went out and did this. Your Midwest region, Houston the 1 seed, Gonzaga, Georgia, Battle of Bulldogs in the 8-9. 5-12, Clemson, McNeese. There'll be a popular upset pick there. Purdue and High Point, 2 teams that can shoot the pill. Illinois versus the winner of Texas, Xavier. I would think it's Xavier that takes that game to the hotter team. Kentucky and Troy, UCLA, Utah State, and Tennessee, Wofford. This region is gross.
Yeah, we talked about the East region being the region of death in terms of just the best talent and the best teams. I think we can confidently say, knowing what teams still have yet to be revealed on the seedings, Smitty, that will be in the West region, I just do not think the Midwest region will be even in the top 2 regions. Like they're going
to be the weakest region, in my opinion.
Without a question.
Yep.
Without a question. So there it is. We've had 3 regions revealed. The last 4 in has been revealed as well, being Texas, Xavier, North Carolina, and San Diego State. We have 1 more region to be revealed. It will be the West region. And before we get there, make sure you are subscribed. 12,000 people watching. I did a beer bong when we got to 402,000 subscribers, Smitty.
Yeah.
If we get to 403,000 subscribers, I'll do another. We're 400 away. I can guarantee that there are 400 people watching that aren't subscribed. Please join the channel. We put out daily content in the sports world. We cover everything, whether it's NBA, NFL. We go live for all the big events, like March Madness, like Selection Sunday, the draft, free agency in both NFL and NBA. Join the channel, join the rocket ship, because we provide fun commentary, analysis, as well as, I mentioned fun? Yeah, we do fun. Beer bongs, that's what we do around here.
If we get to 403,000 by the next time we come back from the break, I'll get another beer bong going. Get the Miller Lite on hand.
Beer bong race here.
We have another one already?
Well, no, between me and you, if we get to 403,000.
Bet.
Which I think is very possible. We're on the rise already. Keep that number ticking, fellas.
Spin it.
403,000 before the final region's revealed. Absolutely on the table. Listen to Time Man, the Buckeye in the chat. Subscribe.
Let's go.
Appreciate all the new subscribers. We like to do these fun events every year. We've done it now for the past 2 seasons. By the way, you can thank me for this. Fun fact. I mean, just put it on.
He is the originator. Like Mad Dog and Mike Francesa originating radio. Rolly is the originator of the March Madness selection show here at Chat Sports. So hats off to him. I love that we do this.
This is the first year. No Harrison Graham with me. We swapped them out for a little Smitty action. But, yeah, we've been here for this is now our 3rd Selection Sunday stream. It's done great numbers every time. This one being the best already.
Listen,
Smitty, we haven't even had the full bracket revealed, and we've already topped the last 2 years in terms of viewership by 10,000. So shout out to all of you guys
have been
tuning in, commenting, liking, subscribing, as I think we're going to get to 403,000 before the last region is revealed,
Can
Smitty.
we do it?
We're 90 away. Hit that sub button.
Let's go.
My wheels are already spinning, Smitty, of teams that are going to be in this last bracket. You're going to see Maryland. You're going to see St. John's. You're going to see Florida.
What's interesting to me is, are you going to see Arkansas and West Virginia? 2 teams.
Oklahoma as well.
That's 8, 9, 10 right there.
I mean, very interesting. I tell you what, UConn as well.
UConn's going to be in that. They're in there. They're probably going to be a 7 in this region now that we think about it.
Oh, you want to talk about that's the 2-time net defending champions. We're just going to overseed them. That is crazy.
Yes.
That is crazy.
I mean, that's actually a fact. We obviously have the first 4 already ready to go.
Benson saying, let's pray Boise State. Benson, I got bad news for you.
They ain't getting it.
I got bad news for you. As we cross 403,000 subscribers.
Let's do it. One more
That's
time.
another beer bong here, as we are just seconds away from the West Virginia getting revealed, so we got to get this in quick.
Here we go.
Appreciate all the new subscribers. We also have a super chat we'll get on screen after the region is revealed.
Cheers.
Appreciate you guys. You guys are absolutely awesome. Appreciate all you guys. All right, the West region set to be revealed here, Smitty. And we already know who the 1 seed's going to be. It's going to be the SEC champions, the team playing arguably better than anyone in the entire field.
Hottest team in the country.
The Florida Gators.
Yep.
30-4, just absolutely dominant performance all season long. Did it at home, did it on the road. Impressive year for them.
They'll be in Raleigh.
On Friday, they'll be taking on the 16 seed, which will be Norfolk State.
Wow. A lot of people thought Norfolk State could have been on that 15 line as well. Brian Moore, shout out to my guy. Used to play against him in high school. Great player.
Wow, we thought UConn might get bumped up to the 7. They will not. They'll be the 8 seed. They'll be playing in Raleigh, 23-10, and they'll be taking on Boomer Sooner, Oklahoma on the 9 line. I thought they were going to be on the 10 seed.
I will say that is a fantastic game.
That will be fun. That will be a fun one to monitor. NBA talent across the board. Liam McNeely, Jeremiah Fears, UConn, Oklahoma on Friday. And Florida, like, for being as hot as they are, they don't get a good draw there.
No, I mean that's it's elite coaching. There's you got multiple Final Fours in that mix. Like,
yeah, brutal. We'll go to the 5 seed in Seattle, Washington, Memphis. They'll be taking on my Colorado State Rams. A matchup between PJ Haggerty and Nick Clifford on Friday. Likely the late night game, by the way.
this is the most classic committee screw job. Even when BYU's in the Big 12, they give them VCU and they run that match 2 mid-majors up against each other again.
4 seed playing on Friday. Maryland, who, as I've mentioned, has statistically, from CBB Analytics, the best rated 5-man lineup. They're starting 5. They'll be taking on the 13 seed Grand Canyon, who... that's a dangerous team over there.
I mean, they got a lot of experience. Tyon Grant Foster came back for his senior season. The Lopes are great. Bryce Drew's a great coach.
All right, bottom. We'll get to the final teams revealed here. The 6th seed, Missouri, out of the SEC. They'll be playing on Thursday in Wichita, Kansas. 22-11 record. They are a fun team. I tell you what, if you've just tracked what they've done over the last 4 seasons, it's quite the shocker.
Yeah, they can put the ball in the cup, no doubt.
Talk about contrasting styles. We'll be playing Drake, the winners of Arch Madness, one of the best names out there.
Yes. Arch Madness, absolutely electric.
Missouri plays at a very quick pace. Drake plays the slowest pace in the country.
Both teams great offensively, but they play totally different.
It's going to be fun to see how those 2 styles match up against each other in Wichita, Kansas, which, by the way, is in Drake's back.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
How about that? Thursday, Wichita, Kansas will feature Texas Tech out of the Big 12 on the 3 line. I just am not a Texas Tech guy. They'll be playing UNC Wilmington.
The Seahawks.
The 14 seed in this region. I'm looking at this one, man. That being in Wichita, you want to talk about an early double-digit seed to get out of that or to make it to the second weekend. Drake will be on a lot of people's radars.
Yeah, I will see.
The 7 seed, Kansas, 21-12. They'll be playing the team we mentioned earlier, Arkansas, Calipari, the Razorbacks. Calipari and
Self in the round of 64?
Round 1, Providence, Rhode Island. Money's worth there. And then the 2 seed will be the Red Storm, St. John's, the Big East champion, playing in Providence, Rhode Island. Rick Pitino in his 2nd season with the Red Storm, getting the job done.
That's so awesome.
30-4. They'll be playing in the Northeast.
I will say, man, quite the draw to match up with Bill Self or John Calipari in round number 2.
That'll be tough. In the 15 seed, the last team revealed, Omaha. They will be taking on the Johnnies. And that is it. All 68 teams have been revealed. The final region is the West region. We'll take it from the top. The SEC champs, Florida, the 1. They'll get to play the winner of UConn, Oklahoma, assuming they can beat Norfolk State. This little grouping here in Seattle is an all-timer, Smitty.
Yeah.
Memphis, Colorado State, fun Big West AAC matchup. Mountain West AAC matchup. And then Maryland, who's been hot as of late. They play an experienced mid-major in Grand Canyon who just was in the dance a year ago. It'll be playing on Friday, and then the bottom of the West region. Missouri, Drake, contrasting styles. Missouri up-tempo, wants to get it rolling. Drake plays at the slowest pace in the country, up there with the 2019 Virginia Cavaliers and the current Houston Cougars. Texas Tech is the 3 seed playing UNC Wilmington. And then the final bottom of this bracket, Kansas, Arkansas, Bill Self, John Calipari playing in Providence. And then the St. John's Red Storm will be the 2 seed in this region playing as the Big East champions. And that is the full field. We are not going to be ending our coverage, folks.
Absolutely
We are
not.
going to go through every part of this bracket, a full bracket reveal, rerun through it, see what happened, and go through everything. But make sure you are subscribed. 10,000 people watching. Justin, if you could do me a favor, since everything is revealed, I like Brett's idea here. Can you get a listicle of the teams that did not get in that we were thinking could get in? Boise State being one of them. UC Irvine, I would put on that list.
What you say? Boise State,
I said
Indiana,
Boise State, Indiana, Ohio State, Irvine. Those are the 4.
That's the 4.
Those are the 4.
Those are the first 4 out, I would assume, aren't they?
I would
Oh, West Virginia. West Virginia didn't get in.
Oh, my God, you're right.
I forgot.
Oh, my God, you're right.
Oh, West Virginia not getting in over Carolina is a joke.
That's what West Virginia gets for losing
their first game.
First game against Colorado, who was the worst team in the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, that's
the reason why they're. How about Boise State not even being anywhere close to the
field?
I mean, they were the 4th team out.
I mean, they had 3 quad 1 wins. They made it to the conference title game in the Mountain West. That is egregious, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I think we should have this weigh-in. If not, quick make it. Who was the biggest snub? Did we have? We might have it. I thought we did. If not,
I got you.
Yeah, just quickly add it there. We're going to show the full bracket in just a second, but after we saw the last 4 in, first 4 out, who was the biggest snub that did not make the tournament? You're right. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together with West Virginia not getting in.
Yeah, I was waiting for them.
Yeah. Who was the biggest snub? Ohio State out. They are out, Chase. Peasy is saying West Virginia. Carlos and Mike are saying Boise State. Yeah, they weren't even the first team out.
They weren't even close.
It was West Virginia, which Joey DeLuca says that's the team that was the biggest snub.
Wow.
Rutgers. Yeah, they weren't even close, Sean.
Rutgers was out years ago.
Dayton, yeah, no, maybe if they didn't have the worst A-10 season of all time. NC
Awful.
State, no chance. Wake Forest, no. I see a lot of West Virginias and Boise. So it seems like that's the 2. What's up, DeLuca? So it feels like when people are looking at who didn't make it, who did make it, the consensus from the chat at least is that the biggest snub was Boise State or West Virginia.
Yeah.
Not Indiana or Ohio State.
No.
Which I agree, Ohio State should not be in. Smitty, what did I say earlier? I said I don't think Indiana should be in.
And they didn't get in.
Without a question.
But I
thought they would get in.
Yes, I thought they would get in as well. I mean, they had 4 quad 1 wins.
I can't believe that. 4-13 in quad 1.
They won on the
road.
road.
1-12.
Won on the road at Michigan State. UNC doesn't have 1 win on their resume that stacks up to that.
The committee has disgusted me.
Disgusted.
It really did.
Jordan Logo's in their face.
I mean, I'm telling you, and I know this gets used a lot in college football as well, but I think this plays extremely well. You swap Boise State and UNC's resume, and
you swap the brands.
No, excuse me, the brands, and Boise State isn't even in the first 4 out.
They might be a 9 seed. It's I'm talking the other way.
Yeah.
Oh, Boise State would be way out. They wouldn't even be in the first 4 out. They wouldn't be in the next 4 out.
Yeah, like that. It's just terrible. It's frustrating to see them get the bias. All right, we're gonna go through all the regions here, Smitty. But before we do that, we have 2 super chats. I want to get those on screen, and then we're gonna go through the entire field of 68, give our thoughts on each region, and we won't go game by game, but we'll just go overarching thoughts. Appreciate the super chat from John. Boom. Let's go Red Storm. Hashtag St. John.
John Venturini, how you doing, my friend?
Do you know him?
No, I do not.
Oh, okay, you just gave such a
I just know that guy's Italian, you know?
Oh, yeah, the Red Storm, the 2 seed in the West region, where Florida is the number 1 overall seed. And then we just got the super chat in from John Waffle. Shout out to the $5 super chat here. West Virginia didn't get snubbed. UNC and Oklahoma had the better resumes. I agree on Oklahoma, especially with them winning 2 games in the SEC tournament and barely losing to Kentucky, who's a 3 seed in the field. But you saying that North Carolina had the better resume than West Virginia, I just couldn't disagree more.
Yeah. I'm
going to pull it up now just to make absolutely sure, but
I bet you I could find 2 wins on West Virginia's schedule that stack up better than anything in North Carolina's done all year.
West Virginia in quad 1 opportunities, Smitty, were 6-10. So they had 5 more wins than North Carolina. Yes, they were 51st in the net, and North Carolina was 36. But 1-12 in quad 1 for North Carolina, 6-10 for West Virginia.
So this is where the committee decided that West Virginia should not be in the field. Beginning in the month of March 1st, they get boat raced by BYU.
They did finish the year really poorly.
They go on the road to Utah, one of the worst teams in the Power 5, and they only win by 2 on the road. And then they squeak by UCF, another one of the worst teams in the Big 12. Probably didn't cover either one of those spreads. I don't know what they are, but they didn't win convincingly. And then they lose their first game to the 16 seed in the Big 12, Colorado, by 7.
You said it earlier in the show that they don't go and really look at the conference tournament that often, but I do believe that loss against Colorado was absolutely the reason why they did not make this tournament, Smitty. Absolutely.
Detrimental. You can't lose those games, and that's on West Virginia for doing that, but I still think that their regular season spoke for itself.
Jakob or Jacob, give it 1 second. We just have to honor the super chats that just came in. So give us 1 second. We have one more from Sam, and then we will show the entire bracket. So stay with us. We will just exercise some patience with us here. Appreciate the 6,400 people still watching here, even after the bracket was revealed on CBS. Sam, super chat, I still can't get over Louisville being an 8. I swear they'd be a 5 at least. Sam, I will say this. I do not think they should have been getting a 5 seed, but to me, they should have absolutely been on the 6 line.
6, or I could have, you could have justified a 7 to me, but
an 8 is crazy. I agree, Sam.
Crazy.
They're crazy.
I know. This is like a loser take, but the AP poll means absolutely nothing when it comes to the dance. The 15th ranked team in the country, right?
Yeah, I also can't get over, Smitty, them putting UNC in the field, which would tell me that the committee valued the ACC a little bit more than the public and bracketologists out there, but then they underseed Louisville the way they did. It makes no sense to me. Appreciate the $5 super chat, Sam. All right, but the people are asking for a full bracket go through. Let's start with the number 1 overall seed.
Okay, let's do that.
We're gonna.
Do you want to go these or do you want to go fulls?
Let's go into the 4s. Let's go in the 4s here, and we'll work.
This is the 4s.
The 4s, yeah, the one you had.
Gotcha.
And then we'll work little quadrant by quadrant early on here, and then we'll go macro after that. But the number 1 overall seed is the Auburn Tigers, despite losing 3 of their last 4 games. Now, those 3 losses were against Texas A&M, Texas A&M, Alabama, and Tennessee, a 2 seed, and a 4 seed. So it's not like they're bad losses by any means, but certainly not playing to the standards they had earlier in the year when they were at 1 point, Smitty, 27-2.
Yeah.
They're playing the winner of Alabama State St. Francis, PA on Thursday, and they'll be, assuming they don't get upset, taking on the winner of Louisville Creighton in the 8-9 game. That is going to be a very fun 8-9 game.
What I say about the Louisville draw here is, like, when a team gets underseeded like this, it affects the opponent. Like Creighton should not have to be playing Louisville in the first round of the dance.
Yeah, but I'll say this. Creighton's a good team.
Oh,
man.
Very good. Very good.
That will be a fun matchup. They're a good battle of experienced guards in that game. Ashworth from Creighton, who damn near has a family and is 25 years old, against Chucky Hepburn, the Defensive Player of the Year in the ACC.
But guess what? Ashworth can pull from 35. He'll be lighting it up.
That he can. Now, this is a very fun in the South region little quadrant here in Denver, Colorado. Michigan, the Big Ten champions, playing UC San Diego, the Big West champion. UC San Diego will have the best player in this game. If you are not aware of him now, please start familiarizing yourself with Alan Trey Jones. He does it all. Number 12, the guard for UC San Diego. He stuffs the stat sheet. Michigan will be fun. And the underlying fun, I kind of want it to happen, but I feel like one of the top seeds are going to lose, Smitty. Yale. Last year, beat Auburn in the first round on the back of their big man, Danny Wolf.
He's not there anymore.
You know where he is? Oh, he's on the Michigan Wolverines. That could be a fun matchup between Wolf and the Yale Bulldogs.
Now, what I'll say about Yale is that they look just as good, if not better, than they did coming into the tournament.
Well, I was watching the broadcast, and they said that it's crazy that Yale lost their best player in Danny Wolf and got better this season, which you could argue that for sure.
They have, it's like Pudakalis or something like that. He's foreign player who is a lefty. He could just come off of screens, and he's either falling away left, falling away right. Does not matter. He doesn't have to be squared up to the cup, and he can still light it up from deep. They have multiple complementary three-point shooters, and they have a big down low. Was a ton of touch around the rim, can body smaller defenders physically. He gave Cornell a ton of problems today. And you know what? I think they could give A&M problems as a team who plays a contrasting style, getting big shots up from the perimeter.
Before we move on from this little region here, it would not shock me at any result of these two games.
I agree.
If you told me that we have Michigan, Texas A&M in the round of 32, cool. You told me it was Texas A&M, UC San Diego, cool. You told me it was Yale, UC San Diego, cool.
I think
it could go either way.
I think it's completely possible.
It is completely.
That's why it's the best.
You want to talk about, I think, my favorite quadrant of two games in the first and second round? It will be this one without a hesitation.
I love it.
Let's move to the bottom here where we had our first stunner of the reveal. It was the fact that North Carolina, the Tar Heels, 1-12 in Quad 1 opportunities. Me and Smitty both agreed that they should not be in the field. We're the last team in against San Diego State. They'll be playing the winner of that game on Wednesday. We'll be playing Ole Miss on Friday in Milwaukee. And then Iowa State Lipscomb, which I feel like this is a bad draw for each team.
Yeah.
I like Lipscomb as a team that could really overpower a team with their shooting and win a game in the first round. But Iowa State is just so good defensively, and they've improved offensively enough to where they can't get beat some ways like they have in the past.
Some days Iowa State looks like a national championship contender, and other days they look like they could lose to a team like Lipscomb, which makes this so fun. But the swarming defense, they have so much switchability in Iowa State, and they've been able to hit that outside shot. They've been able to get out and compete in these big barn burner games where teams are putting up 80 points. That is a bad draw, in my opinion, for Lipscomb.
All right, let's get to the final little quadrant here in the South region. Marquette, Shaka Smart, the 7 seed, playing New Mexico, who was the best team in the Mountain West all year long, but lost in the quarterfinals, the semifinals to Boise State, who did not make the tournament. It seemed like that was a tournament game between them and Colorado State yesterday, and it ultimately was. Michigan State, the 2 seed, Tom Izzo taking on the Bryant Bulldogs.
Michigan State by 40.
I like Marquette. New Mexico's an intriguing team, but this just feels like pencil on Izzo to the second weekend.
I agree, but I will say this. I don't know. Obviously, I'm forgetting what other matchups we've seen. We'll go through them as we're going through the bracket, but as far as a first-round game that I don't believe either team can win the national title, but I am entertained, and as a person who likes seeing points put up on the board, Marquette, New Mexico is a dream for a guy like me who just wants to see high-level shot-making, fast-paced, and two teams who just want it.
All right, so let's go over this full region once again, Smitty, in the top to the bottom here. Once again, Auburn, the number 1 overall seed in the South region, taking on Alabama State, St. Francis, PA. You see the other seeds here. Fascinating 5 and 4 seed, Texas A&M, Michigan, UC San Diego, and the others there. Ole Miss, San Diego State, UNC. They're playing in the first 4. Iowa State, Lipscomb, Marquette, New Mexico, and then Michigan State, Bryant. Before we get into the next region, Smitty, I want to get your quick thoughts, like instant reaction.
Uh-huh.
I am not holding you to this. By the time the games tip off on Thursday afternoon, who do you see coming out of this region?
Oof. I mean, I'm going to find it hard to pick against Auburn, man. I know that they're faltering. I know they're not playing their best brand of basketball, but they have here 3-4 days to get right, work out the kinks they need to work out in practice, kind of erase these last couple of games from their memory and go out and be the team that they were for the first 30 games of the season.
Yeah, I tell you what, I don't disagree with you, but Michigan State matches up very well with them. And if they ended up playing in the Elite Eight, it's two contrasting styles once again. Auburn, a high-scoring, fast-paced team. Michigan State can play fast-paced, Smitty. They can, but they are one of the best defensive teams in the country, led by a plethora of guards. You see Holloway, you see Jace Richardson, their first-round pick in Richardson, two good big men inside. An athletic wing and Cohen Carr. Like, that Michigan State team could give Auburn some issues. I'm intrigued to see what will ultimately happen here. Before we get to the next regions, I do want to get quick thoughts. Who wins the South region? That was the region. I want to get the chat's thoughts. I think my first initial thoughts, you know what? I'm going to not – I've been on Auburn the whole year. I'm changing it. I'm going Michigan State.
Oh, Izzo, baby.
It might be Izzo's year.
I'm
going. The eye test is very, very good.
So I didn't make a necessary prediction. I said it's gonna be very difficult to not go with Auburn. I will stand on this. The Elite Eight will be Auburn versus Michigan State.
I certainly hope so.
The people want it. The people need it. Who wins the South? Let us know.
Well,
Louisville for the upset. You're out of your mind.
Yeah, you read off the chat. I'm gonna make weigh-ins for each region.
Sure. Michigan State sucks, Zach DeBoer. I think you're just chatting. I don't think you have anything actually to back that up. Michigan State would beat Auburn hands down. You think so?
It'd be a great matchup.
I think that thing's gonna be real close. Michigan State plays in a lot of close games. Lobo's sneaky. This and Donovan Dent, one of the best guards in the country, no doubt about it. They got a good inside presence. And Nelly Jr. Joseph, Richard Pitino is going to be making the move back to the Power 5 eventually, it feels like. They have a lot of veteran experience, and they're a team who lost in the first round last year after being pegged as a potential second weekend team. I think they come back this year. They kind of got the frauds off the roster, and now they got a new group, and they're playing at an even higher level in 2025. I like the Lobos a lot. Probably going to pick them in my bracket to upset Marquette.
Okay, so you might have to unread only it, but
sure.
I do have weigh-ins now of just this. There you go.
Cool.
That fit our normal criteria.
I get it.
Yeah. We'll be moving on, though, so we get the predictions for the South region. Let's get into the next region here, which is the number 2 overall seed, that being the Duke Blue Devils. I thought we're going to get the number 1 seed. They don't. They'll be the number 1 seed in the East region. They'll be taking on the winner of American and Mount St. Mary's Friday in Raleigh. Yeah, very nice. That's English. Hard. They'll be then taking on the winner of Mississippi State Baylor. I'm a little bit shocked, Smitty, and I said this right off the rip, that Baylor's on the 9 line.
Yeah. I mean, did you expect that? You expect them to be lower?
I thought they were going to be on the 10.
Yeah, the 10.
Yeah, the 10.
We didn't have our seeds because we've been talking about this for over a week now. Where we have all these teams on what specific seed lines. We got the 8s to 11s kind of wrong. It feels like.
Well, we got yes. I was going to say we got the top 8.
Yeah.
Perfectly, and it didn't take that hard to realize who the top 8 seeds were going to be. There was so buzz maybe about St. John's being the first 3 seed rather than a 2 seed, but I thought that was ludicrous. But I was way off on the 9, 10, 11 seeds.
Yep.
I mean, and it showed based off our last 4 end predictions. Mm-hmm. We just had no really, I guess, beat on what the committee was looking for. Like, that's the crazy thing about, like, UNC getting in. Didn't expect Boise State to not even be close.
They didn't sniff it.
Like, West Virginia being out of the field. Everyone. Like, that's the crazy thing. They didn't even have them in the last 4 in. Every bracketologist had West Virginia and the last 4 buys.
Yep.
Like, I know they lost to Colorado.
It had to have been the end of the season they had. It really had to have been the collapse they had in the month of March.
Yeah, crazy. But that's a fun game. That's going to be a good matchup. You got a good guard matchup. You got VJ Edgecombe, Josh Hubbard, Jeremy Roach, Jaden Nunn. The Baylor's got guards. That will be an interesting
Those are 2 teams that are going to punch each other in the mouth. Very physical game. It's going to be ugly. That's going to be low scoring, no doubt.
Yeah, we'll move on to the 4-5 grouping here in the East region. Oregon and Liberty, and then Akron and Arizona. Oh,
Liberty's been in this situation so many times. 12 seed here, 12 seed here, 12 seed here. Everybody picks them because they can shoot the basketball. You know what? They just got smacked in the face by Dana Altman.
He aligns Rubik's Cubes, and for a good reason. He, doesn't lose in March. We talked about this in the office, and if you haven't seen the fact, well, here's a fun fact for the 5,000 people still watching. What program since 2011 has the most wins in the month of March? Yeah, that would be the Oregon Ducks. It's not North Carolina. It's not Duke. It's not Michigan State.
Not
it is
Kansas,
Dana
Kentucky,
Altman's program.
Nothing. Dana Altman, he wins.
And what is it,
month.
Smitty? I don't want to, maybe you know the stat offhand. Isn't it 7 straight wins in the first round of the tournament? They don't lose. They don't lose.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if they're a top seed. Doesn't matter if they're a 10 or 11 seed like they were last year with N'Faly Dante.
I think it dates all the way back to them making the Final Four back in 2018.
They don't lose in the first round.
They don't lose.
And so, unfortunately, I really like Liberty. I really do. I watch them quite a bit. But I will just simply never pick against Oregon in the first round until I watch them lose the first round.
I'm just not going to do it, but I maybe will pick them to lose to Arizona, who I really like to go far
I'm
in
a
this
duck.
dance.
I'm a duck, but I also like these Wildcats.
Yeah.
They can beat anybody. They can lose to anybody as well.
For sure.
It is very dependent on Caleb Love. He is back once again. Yes, it's the same Caleb Love from North Carolina about 17 years ago.
Yep.
All jokes there. They have gotten more well-balanced in terms of their offense in comparison to last year, but when Caleb Love struggles, they do struggle as a team.
Yeah, they don't have a ton of elite jump shot creation on the roster right now. You got guys who can battle down low and hit the corner three like a Trey Towns, and you got a Jaden Bradley, who's an athletic, two-guard wing as well. They have players, no doubt about it. And Tommy Lloyd's a great coach, but I don't know. If they end up matching up against an Oregon, a really physical team, and a very well-coached and structured team, then we could see them on the outside looking in. But I like Arizona and the top-end talent that they have to go far.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope we get an Arizona-Oregon second-round matchup because I think that game would be awesome.
This is the quadrant of awesome.
No, yeah, I tell you what, the East, we talk about it. It's the region of death. That's what everyone calls it. Just like in soccer, they call it the group of death. Like when the best teams somehow all get put into one region, you just say, how is this possible? Why isn't there more spread out of this? Because BYU, to me, is one of the hottest teams in the country.
Yep.
It's not just to me. I mean, they are just analytically just on a hot heater after starting off slow in the non-con in the Big 12. They finished in the top 4 of the Big 12. They got a first-round talent, Agor Demen.
Mm-hmm.
They have really good players like Richie Saunders.
Yeah, Saunders
He's
is a
been good.
beast.
Dallin Hall coming off the bench. They've got really good players, but they're playing a team in VCU who can shoot it.
Yep.
They're very deep, and they have a good player of their own in Max Shulga.
Max Shulga is one of the better players who can facilitate, hit the catch and shoot, create his own shot, drive to the rim, draw contact, get to the free throw line. Like, he is a Swiss Army knife of a ball handler, and this is a tough draw for VCU, man. Like, they're getting a team that has NBA talent on the roster in BYU. I expect this to be a late night game, as my good friend Tom Sipe in the chat was asking for game time predictions. This is going to be on TBS at 9:20 Eastern.
I love that. And then in the 3 seed, Wisconsin, Montana. Hear me out, Smitty. I think BYU gets out of this quadrant. I'm a BYU guy. I like VCU, but I can't just ignore the fact that they're playing in their neck of the woods over in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. And we saw how the BYU faithful showed up and showed out in Kansas City this weekend. I mean, they got a closer ride over to Denver, and I think they're going to pack it out.
I'm lower on Wisconsin than most. I understand that they're a 3 seed. They deserve a 3 seed. I just don't see it in terms of the eye test of them being an elite basketball team that is a top 12 team in the country. I don't see it.
They don't often have the best player on the floor.
No, and I think BYU, who is playing as good as anyone, if they are able to escape VCU, I would anticipate them beating Wisconsin or Montana. I'll tell you this right now. This is a take that I have now, and this is one that I will have in my final bracket as well. I will be having BYU in the Sweet 16.
Ooh.
Moving down to the bottom of this region. You want to talk about a game that probably won't excite anyone.
No.
And this is not to discredit Vanderbilt or St. Mary's. It's just we know that these teams have am I gonna expose myself here? Like no matter who wins this game, they're getting rolled by Alabama.
Rolled. Like, neither of them can put the ball in the basket at high of a clip. Alabama's also going to be playing with a little bit of fire in their eyes right now as they just got embarrassed by Florida yesterday. So we'll see.
Sorry, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Nashville disagrees with the Vandy slander. AJ Hoggard, my guy, still on the Vandy
I'm an
roster.
AJ Hoggard hater.
Yeah.
All right, but let's go through the entire East region once again and then kind of forecast what we would expect potentially here, just quickly seeing it for the first time. Man, that 4-5 Oregon-Arizona quadrant is going to be so fun to watch. Akron can beat Arizona, but Arizona's playing well lately. Duke, I like Baylor. I like Mississippi State. I think Duke, it will be very dependent on Cooper Flagg's health and how far they can advance, but I would anticipate them still being able to advance to the second weekend, even if Cooper Flagg does not play a single minute.
I agree.
That's kind of how I view it there. The bottom of this region, boy, oh boy. I've already said that I am going to have BYU in the Sweet 16. I've already basically said that I will have Alabama in the Sweet 16. An Alabama hypothetically matchup with BYU would be rollies. I don't know if I could say the phrase that I want to say.
Yeah.
But I think
dream.
Yes, yeah, it's a dream. It's a dream.
I'm not going to lie to you. I got VCU getting to the second weekend, baby. Unbelievable.
So me and you are both equal of winner of BYU VCU beats Wisconsin or Montana if Montana gets the upset.
Like I said about the Marquette, New Mexico, I love that matchup. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. This is no joke my favorite game of the first round. BYU VCU.
I would probably agree with that.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that we went to an Atlantic 10 school. Maybe it does a little bit.
Oh, that doesn't impact anything. These are just two high
They're
level.
really two good teams, man. VCU should have been in the field even if they didn't bring down the Nets in Washington, D.C. earlier today.
Yeah, so quick thoughts. I know I said I like Alabama and BYU to get to the Sweet 16. I'll ask the chat. This is the East region. Who wins the East region?
Yep.
Duke is the 1 seed. Alabama's the 2 seed. Wisconsin 3. Oregon, Arizona in the 4-5. Those are your top seeds. Who wins the East region?
Let us know in the chat right now. I mean,
I'm
not doing it. It's Duke.
Unfortunately, it pains me to say this. I'm not going to overthink this region. I'm already overthinking the Auburn region, picking Michigan State.
Yeah.
Off first glance.
By the way, Duke, Michigan State in the Final Four. Wait,
no, there'd be
opposite sides. That's on me.
It could be a title game.
Oh.
But we know Izzo owns Duke, so I don't think you'd want that, Smitty. But who you got winning the East region? Me and Smitty are both going with Duke. It's hard not to pick Duke.
BYU over Duke in a thriller.
Oh,
says Dallin.
I like that. I may be biased. Might be a BYU fan over
Duke
there.
is overrated.
I'm seeing a couple Bamas in there, too.
Listen, I'll say this about Duke. They only have I guess it's different now, but maybe it was heading into the ACC tournament. They have a 4-3 record against teams in the field. So, like, they're not necessarily have the Auburn resume of quad ones and record against teams in the field, but they just look like the best team on the floor every time they step on it.
Yeah, they just haven't been battle-tested in so long. And maybe you could argue that this little 2-game stretch against North Carolina and Louisville without Cooper Flagg is ultimately going to do them good in the long run.
I hope so.
They won by, barely against North Carolina.
3 over Carolina.
And then they won by double digits against Louisville in the title
game was close for a while.
But it was close for a while. And I think it will just add more, depth to that team. Not that they needed more depth, but when more players are called upon and required to step up, and they were able to.
And Flagg's 20-point per game scorer.
Yeah, it's hard for me not to pick Duke out of that region. They've been so good. But you mentioned it. They did beat Auburn in the non-con, but
haven't really had a crazy good win since then.
No, yeah, and they lost to Clemson in Clemson.
Yep.
And I'm not high on Clemson. I know you aren't either, so that is tough. But I saw some Oregon upsets Duke from King. See BYU. A lot of Duke fans in the chat. There's no denying that. Let's get over to the Midwest region now, where the Houston Cougars are the #1 overall seed in this one, 3rd overall in the tournament. They'll be playing SIUE, first time in the tournament themselves, so congrats to them. They'll be playing on Thursday in Wichita, and assuming Houston wins, Gonzaga, Georgia, which I think a lot of people aren't going to get excited about that matchup. I will not be in that category. I am going to be very intrigued to see this game. You have a couple good players on Georgia, like NBA talent. Asa Newell will be a first-round pick, assuming he goes to the draft. Big man there. You have Pat White, who's been really good for them on the outside perimeter. But Gonzaga, Khalif Battle, Nembhard,
Graham Ike.
That's
going to be a battle down low
I'm
between he and
spacing
Newell.
on the big man's name, the 33, the white
Braden
guy.
Huff?
No, not Huff. You're talking. That's Virginia.
Oh, what am I, an idiot? No, it's something like that, though.
Yeah.
Let me get that.
Smitty's going to get that. But I feel like this matchup favors Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Because I think they have the big men to compete with Georgia's talent on the front court with Graham Ike. And when we figure out this guy's name that we're both spacing on, it's driving me nuts. But
Ben Gregg.
Ben Gregg, yes.
But Braden Huff is on Gonzaga.
Who was I thinking of then?
Yeah, Braden Huff's 34 and Ben Gregg's 33.
Who's the
They're
Huff?
both 6'10". They got 3 6'10ers.
Who's the Huff guy from Virginia back in the day? Remember the shot blocker?
It's not Mike Huff.
No, it's not Mike. Either way, Gonzaga's got guards too with Nembhard and Khalif Battle. Ajayi coming off the bench as well. That is going to be a good team. I don't think they'll get to the second weekend because I think Houston's a really good player or a really good team, but that is a interesting one. Moving on to the 4-5. Oh, God, Speedy. You want to talk about
Pencil in Will Wade. We'll see you in the next round.
I think Clemson stinks, and I think Purdue got overseeded. You could argue to me Purdue could have been a 6 seed, and they're on the 4 line.
Yeah, I mean, 11 losses at a 4 seed is pretty brutal. I'm not going to lie. And they haven't been an inspiring team. They haven't been, beating the best teams in the Big Ten. They haven't been a great defensive team overall all season long. Like, I'm not inspired by Purdue at all. They have Braden Smith. He can get hot and hit a bunch of shots. I'm not the biggest fan of Trey Kaufman-Renn. I think he's a little bit overrated. Doesn't really have any elite traits to his game, in my opinion. But who knows? That's a great matchup for Purdue themselves, matching up against High Point, another team who can shoot the rock. Like, they can kind of go back and forth there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like a little Providence region that doesn't excite me whatsoever.
What I will say is it's a kind of a perfect storm for McNeese here. You have Clemson, who went to the Elite Eight last year. Meanwhile, McNeese, and by the way, nobody was picking Clemson last year. People had Clemson losing in the round of 64. I think they ended up playing New Mexico. They blew them out. McNeese, on the other hand, they were the hot, popular upset pick last year, matched up against Gonzaga, and they got rolled. How about we flip the script this year and McNeese takes them?
I will be on that with you.
Yep.
I will say that. And I honestly could argue that McNeese, there's always a double-digit seed that makes it to the second weekend, folks. I think McNeese is going to be the most popular pick to do that.
They don't have as good of a record as they did last year, but they are as talented.
They also got Aura.
Yep, and they have Aura with that manager.
The manager. Let's get to the 6th line here. Illinois, a favorite of mine. I really like Illinois, even though they might be one of the most inconsistent teams in the country. On any given night, they can look like a top 5 team. On any other night, they can look like a team that shouldn't sniff the tournament, a la when they got 40-pieced in MSG against Duke, but then followed that up with wins against Michigan.
All double digits.
And what was it? Was Wisconsin?
They killed Iowa, and I think they beat Wisconsin, too.
I think it was Wisconsin. But the shocker here, Smitty, is the fact that the Texas Longhorns got into the field.
They stink.
Which no one anticipated.
Yep.
They were plus 550, I believe, to make the tournament this morning when I woke up, because I sent you lines of, like, the 4 bubble teams that were the most, like, I guess, hot topic. And it was, you couldn't bet. Like, I remember the line exactly now. Texas was minus 1,040 on FanDuel Sports
to miss
the tournament.
Yep.
Minus 140 or 1,040.
Yeah.
They got in. And they'll be playing Xavier in Dayton in the first 4. I know a team always wins the first game from the first 4.
It's the Xavier Musketeers.
I think Xavier beats Illinois.
I think Xavier beats Illinois.
Even though I like Illinois. I think Xavier has I like Kasper Siakachonis a lot. But
Ryan Conwell, Zach Fremantle, they can dictate the pace of play, and I love the advantage that Xavier has down low.
Yeah, which is going to be a fascinating matchup here, potentially in the second round. Whoever wins that game. If it's Texas, Kentucky, assuming Kentucky gets by Troy, I'm a big fan of this Kentucky team. They have really good shooting, and Kobe Brea, Andrew Carr, Toga Owe has been just dominant this season. they've been very good. I really like what Mark Pope has done in his first season for Kentucky. Unfortunately, they've been having to deal with so many injuries this year, or they could have been having a way better season where they could have been on the 2 line. I think this is an intriguing one. I like Kentucky a lot. I think they're going to get to the Sweet 16.
I think they're going to boat race Troy.
I think they have had some bad luck in the past couple of years in the first round.
That guy's hitting 11 threes last year.
I think Kentucky fans are going to be scarred by that, but I do think this is the year they will be playing on the second weekend. I've been a fan of the Wildcats all year.
So
which would be fascinating to watch, though, because not often, Smitty, does the committee put 2 teams in the same conference at a high seed line in the same region
to be playing in the Sweet 16.
But that's what happens when you have so many SEC teams on the 2, on the 3, on the 4 line.
Yep.
And that's what we could see here, as you see in the bottom of the Midwest. Tennessee is the 2 seed against Wofford, UCLA, Utah State in that 7-10 game. Like, Kentucky, Tennessee in the Sweet 16 is just so fascinating. But is it going to get there?
Yeah, and I want to know, like, I do think it is going to get there. Tennessee's playing their best basketball of the season right now. I know they lost to Florida today, but the game didn't really – I mean, I guess it mattered. They could have got the final one, but they're playing at an elite level right now. Zakai Ziegler isn't turning the ball over. He's been really, really good offensively. Like, they play defense at a really high level. Like, I know Rick Barnes is kind of like every college basketball fan's boogeyman because he will never make it deep into the dance, but – I like Tennessee a lot this year. They're hitting their stride at the right time.
Yeah. I mean, I will say this. I just think Tennessee gets out of this region, gets out of this quadrant with ease.
With ease. Yeah, out of this foursome? Yeah, absolutely.
I like Utah State, but I didn't like what I saw from them in the Mountain West semifinals, and they barely snuck by UNLV in the quarters.
I feel like their best days were in November, to be quite honest with you. When they were, they won an MTE, they beat St. Mary's, I believe. So they had a really good non-conference, but man, down the stretch of conference play, they were not very good. Very
interesting there. Tennessee's also playing good basketball. Just beat Auburn, lost to Florida. But Tennessee's playing good.
Nobody was beating Florida this weekend.
Yeah, Florida was just on a different level. So overall, the Midwest region, the number 1 seed, Houston Cougars at 30-4. They'll be playing SIU Edwardsville with Gonzaga, Georgia, Clemson, McNeese, Purdue, High Point to fill out the top of the bracket. Just quickly on the top of this bracket, Smitty, like, I'm sorry. I don't want to be chalk because I feel like chalk is just so lame and boring, and it rarely ever happens. But who on earth is beating the Houston Cougars in this top half of the bracket?
I mean, they punch you in the mouth defensively. They're athletic. I mean, they're huge, like size-wise. Like I don't think any of these teams can match up with them.
I think
maybe Gonzaga, but like still, Gonzaga doesn't have as much size on the wing.
I think the most difficult matchup they could have in this entire group, no matter who they get, is Gonzaga.
I think it's Gonzaga.
And it could be in the second game, or if Georgia beats them, then you don't even got to play Gonzaga.
Yeah. But We'll see in the second weekend, Kelvin Sampson.
Yeah, bottom of the bracket in the Midwest is a lot more fun and intriguing with Illinois, Texas Xavier, Kentucky Troy, UCLA, Utah State, Tennessee Wofford. I could see this going any way. I really could. I think Tennessee is a lock to the Sweet 16, but if you told me Illinois was playing in the Sweet 16, I wouldn't be shocked because, like I said, if they get hot, they literally are a top 5 team in the country. But I wouldn't be surprised, and I feel like I'm going to pick them to lose to Xavier.
Yeah.
But then same thing would be Kentucky. If they hit their shots, they're more well-balanced than they've been in the past. Like
an Illinois-Kentucky game would be fun.
It would be fun. It'd be a very high-scoring, very high-paced. It'd be fun to see how that plays out.
Absolutely.
As we've asked all day long when we go through these regions, and we got one more to go through, and we're going to ask you this again. Who wins the Midwest region?
Who wins the Midwest?
And Smitty, we've done this ourselves. Quick initial reactions. Who's going to win the Midwest?
Gut feeling. Give me the Tennessee Volunteers. Give me the Tennessee Volunteers to win that.
Came up just short last year, losing in the Elite Eight to Purdue.
They could end up, God forbid, Purdue goes on a crazy run here. They could match up again in the second weekend.
That's not going
to happen. No. Who do you got?
Man.
It's tough to pick against Houston, man, but I think Tennessee's a team that can match up with them physically.
I agree. But my question is, does Tennessee have enough scoring? Last year, they had Dalton Knecht, who was arguably the number 1 scoring wing in the entire country.
Yeah, and then Purdue just sent the kitchen sink at him defensively.
And they Zaki dominated inside.
Exactly.
You're not playing a Zaki this year, so I get that. Chaz Lanier has been incredible for them this year.
Yep.
They have good guard depth with Ziegler, Meshack. Their front court, not as good as it's been in the past, but they've been solid still.
What about Kentucky?
I told. What did I tell you 2 weeks that I really like Kentucky?
Yeah.
Would they be able to beat Houston? I think Houston.
They got to shoot the lights out.
Yeah, Houston would just mug them up, and which is why, because they make it such a physical game in Kentucky. I don't know if they can handle that, which is why, unfortunately, I think I'm going to be picking Houston.
You know what? Houston has yet to make a Final Four in the Kelvin Sampson era, I believe. Right? I think they lost. The closest they got was Elite Eight. And they lost to Villanova when it was the Blue Blood Final Four back in 2022. I don't think that Houston has made a Final Four. Or, no, did they get killed by Baylor in the 2021? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they've been.
They got killed by Baylor. But nobody was losing to Baylor that year, obviously.
Yeah, I just want to make sure. They were in the Final Four in the 2020-21 season.
That's the Baylor National Championship.
First time they made it there.
The COVID bubble in Indianapolis. Okay, so they haven't been there in 4 years. This could be the time that Kelvin Sampson and the Cougars go out there and get it done.
Yeah, so let me know your guys' thoughts. I see Houston. I see Kentucky. More Houston. Maryland making it to the Final Four. It's not in this region. I see Max saying UCLA.
If Lamont Butler stays healthy, Kentucky has a chance. I agree.
Yeah, he did not play, I think, in that game they lost to Alabama with a shoulder injury, if I'm not mistaken.
Hopefully he can come back.
All right, still 4,300 people watching. Time to get into the West region. Florida, Norfolk State in the 116 game. And an intriguing, fun 8-9 between the UConn, two-time defending champion Huskies, and the 9th-seeded Oklahoma Sooners.
NBA talent on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Liam McNeely. You've got Jeremiah Fears. I do question if Fears is going to be able to do it by himself because his usage rate is just so high for Sooners.
I feel like Hurley could scheme up against that.
But I don't love the guard play of UConn. Yeah, they have Diarra. They have Mahaney coming off the bench.
I think Diarra stinks.
Solo Ball has been good for them this year. But I do think I'm going to have to – when you get to March and you guarantee matchups, so first-round games.
Yep.
The one thing that I always look at is experience and coaching.
Yep.
Now, there's a lot of variables that come into play. I mean, can go without being said. But who do I trust more? Porter Moser, Dan Hurley.
Dan Hurley. It's not particularly close.
Who has more experience in these moments?
Dan Hurley and the UConn Huskies.
Well, when you talk about having Diarra, backup point guard for last year's title team.
Alex Karaban.
Like, I am going to have to go with the Huskies in this game, I would still pick Florida, but UConn, Florida in the second round.
Fun.
Love
it.
Speaking of fun, this quadrant right here, man. I can go on and on and on about the Colorado State Rams, a personal favorite of mine, the Mountain West champions, Neek Clifford, PJ Haggerty, must-watch TV late night on Friday, which I guarantee, I am willing to put the guarantee, Smitty, Memphis, Colorado State is the final game of Friday night.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Actually, I'd have to go through all the games on Friday, but I'm willing to predict it.
What I will say is, God damn it, committee. Why do we always do this every single year? Mid-majors matching up against mid-majors in the round of 64. I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
They want these guys out quick.
It is unfortunate. Now, I will say this, Smitty. We could potentially have here, not that the people at home care, a battle of, I think, my two darlings. Maryland and Colorado State. I mean, if you want to flash it real quick, go to my dark horses.
Sure.
I think it was my 1 and 2 was Colorado State, Maryland. That would be correct.
That'd be correct.
Those were my two dark horses because I knew Colorado State was going to be a double-digit seed, and I knew Maryland was going to be on the 4 line, which I consider a dark horse.
Yeah.
Top 3 seeds, no, but 4 line, yeah. Well, my top 2, I love them. I've watched them more than most teams in this field. I really like both squads. Colorado State, Maryland in the round of 32. I would pay $100 right now to guarantee that matchup on Sunday afternoon.
Sean Shonabrov in the chat says, Maryland's last 4 losses have come off buzzer beaters. Should that trend worry me with the madness of March?
Or
they seem like a pretty unlucky bunch for that to be the case.
I was going to say.
So I think you should be worried probably.
With Michigan beating them with the layup at the end in the semifinals of the Big Ten title game.
Yep, Michigan
State the half quarter.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, man. I know it's kind of facetious of a question, I feel like.
Yeah.
But Maryland is that good. They can compete with anyone. I will be picking Maryland to go to the second weekend.
Yeah, I agree. Grand Canyon was a popular upset pick last year. They do have a lot of experience returning back, and they have good guard play.
They won their first game last year, right?
They did not.
So they won. There was the year prior they won. This is their third straight year in?
I don't think that they won it last year.
No, Grand Canyon won a game.
Did they beat St. Mary's last year?
Because they played Alabama in the second game.
Oh, then they did win.
I know they played Alabama last year, and I know it wasn't the first round.
Let me see. Grand Canyon in the 2024 NCAA tournament. They did beat St. Mary's. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they lost to Alabama, right?
Okay. So yeah, pencil in Maryland.
Yeah. I like Maryland. I like Colorado State. Man. I have a take loading up here in just a second.
Oh, here we go.
But we'll get to the bottom of this region, where I think it's going to be really fun. Missouri-Drake is arguably we talked about, what was the game we said earlier? VCU-BYU?
Yeah.
I think just for personal research reasons, Missouri v. Drake might be my favorite first-round matchup, just because of the contrasting styles.
Drake and Yang, man.
I mentioned it multiple times throughout today's show. They play at the slowest pace out of anyone in the field.
Mm-hmm.
They are efficient, they defend, and they have a stud, Bennett Shirts.
Oh, Shirts is
He's
dope.
unbelievable. Missouri plays fast. They press you. They try to get it run and gun and create chaos. Which will prevail? We'll find out Thursday in Wichita. I tell you what.
That's going to be a fun one.
That's going to be good. And then Texas Tech, UNC Wilmington. Is there any chance for an upset there in your opinion?
Probably not. No, I mean, listen, UNC Wilmington a couple of years back, like, I'm talking like 2019 or something like that. Like, they were a popular upset pick back in the day. They haven't been in the tournament in a few seasons, and they've never. I don't remember them ever winning a round of 64 games. So maybe their time could be up. They could be due for a big win over Texas Tech, who is faltering right now. They're not playing their best basketball this season. They were on my frauds list actually.
Yeah. Wait, Texas Tech was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I actually don't like them long term, but I do like them to win the first game.
Yeah, I agree.
Final little quadrant here that we'll break down.
Bill
Kansas,
Self.
Arkansas, John Calipari, Bill Self
Calipari.
in the 7-10 game. How fun would this be? Two teams that I told myself I was fading no matter what in the first round,
So
yet they play each other.
Smitty's frauds have 3 teams in this region. Texas Tech, Kansas, and Arkansas.
Not just the region, the bottom portion.
The bottom portion. So all these teams are losing, in my humble opinion.
All of them suck.
Yep.
And then the Big East champions, second year, Rick Pitino.
Follow the yellow brick road. Lead them down the road. They're painting the picture for St. John's to go to the Elite Eight.
Yeah, and you know what? As we show the entire West region, I am going to say something right now, Smitty.
Oh, boy.
You see the top half.
Uh-huh.
You see the bottom half. We will be having an Elite Eight of Maryland
And St.
John's.
Oh, my goodness.
And I have yet to decide what team I think wins that game.
I think I would take St. John's in that game. The depth.
I think I just simply have to, like I've mentioned earlier in the show, I said before the year, St. John's is a Final Four team. It's almost like I just have to stick to my guns. I predicted it. It's come out. Everything that I thought was going to play out has played out for the Red Storm this season. I think I'm going to go with them in the Final Four. A game against Maryland would be tough.
I'm not going to lie to you, man. Kansas could beat St. John's.
Oh, they absolutely can.
Kansas could beat
Yeah,
St.
they
John's. I think Kansas is
absolutely
going to make quick work of Arkansas. By the way, a little bit of a revenge game for Kansas. A few years ago, Arkansas beat them in the round of 32 in a 9-1, I believe.
I don't like Kansas at all, but I do think they beat Arkansas because I hate Arkansas more.
Yeah, they stink.
I'm curious, though. They match up well because they got Joseph Adu, the transfer from Tennessee,
Yep.
at the center spot. They've got Thiero, the transfer from Kentucky, at the 4. He might be out, though, says Tyler Jones.
Trayvon Brazile, big man.
Brazil. They've got bodies to throw at Kansas's big men.
For sure. That'll be a grinded out game, for no doubt.
Yeah. Who wins the matchup between Boogie Flan and DeJuan Harris?
Oh, DeJuan Harris stinks. I'm out.
Flan, though, by the way, injured as well, but I think I saw Rothstein tweet out this morning that he practiced and should be ready to go for a tournament game. But you guys let us know your thoughts. Final region that we broke down here. We went through each region live. We went through it and then gave our thoughts. Who wins the West region?
Let us know.
I'm going with the Johnnies.
I can't do it. I've been a hater. I'm gonna stray from that. Even though the West region, in my opinion, is not very top heavy. Because like I'm either saying this is Florida or St. John's here. I don't see any way that Texas Tech makes the Final Four. Yeah, I mean, maybe we get one of the crazy years like we get with Loyola Chicago makes the final.
Well,
but
I'll also say this, Smitty, is like I've already in my own head putting in 3 1 or 2 seeds in the Final Four.
I think all my matchups in the Elite Eight are 1-2s.
It's not. This doesn't happen.
It's just not going to
It
happen.
just doesn't happen. So the one bracket that I think has a lot of good teams that can get a little nutty, the West region.
Yeah, that definitely could get nutty. I mean, Maryland has a super high ceiling. Colorado State could beat anybody. They're going to have the best player on the floor oftentimes.
I mean, I said it, you say that, but then like PJ Haggerty is also unbelievable.
Yep, and you have veteran experience on Memphis with Tyrese Hunter as well. UConn, the 2-time defending national champions. You have an NBA lottery pick in Jeremiah Fears. Like, there's players who could really mess up some brackets in this region, no doubt about it.
And I'll say this, because I know how the bracket works. In my own head here, I picked Michigan State to get out of the South initially.
The South.
Out of the South.
Beat Auburn.
And the West is going to be on that same side, because Florida was the final 1 seed. So in my own head here,
Oh my
if
God.
it is St. John's and Michigan State, could you imagine a Tom Izzo, Rick Pitino Final Four game?
That would be the greatest moment the sport's ever seen, I think.
The game would also finish in the 50s because they're
Yes.
both 2 top 5 defensive teams in the country.
Yes. And both teams struggle to shoot. Even though Michigan State has been a better outside shooting team of late,
Yeah.
they're not the most
guard
offensively
play
gifted
in that
team.
game. Oh my goodness. Holloway, Richardson,
There won't be any doubles. You can
Richmond,
leave everybody on an island.
Smith, R.J. Lewis. Oh my goodness, I'm just getting giddy. Cohen Cart. Wow, that matchup. I actually am going to pick it just because I want it to happen. Smitty, did you say you're going with who out of this?
I
region?
am going with. I'm going with the. Give me Maryland. Give me Maryland.
Did I convince you?
Yes.
I think I convinced you. Maryland, very good.
Give me Maryland, man.
Derek
They're fun.
Queen, baby.
They're fun.
Derek Queen, I love
Kevin
him.
Willard just got a big time contract extension. He'll be feeling good.
Oh, do you not? Ooh, that actually I forgot about that.
That
this
is not
morning.
good
That
news.
is not coaching for
Terrible.
his job anymore. He's got security. Not that he was coaching for his job. When you just feel too secure, you don't put your life and blood into it.
I agree. He'll be there for a long time.
I see a lot of Floridas. I see St. John's. Not a lot of people going crazy here in the chat. And I guess
You can come over here.
Yeah, I guess with Smitty. Tyler Jones really wants to get his thoughts on screen.
What are these hot takes that you got rolling in here?
Let's start out. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Squeeze in here.
The 2 Tylers.
Yes, 2 Tylers and 1 Cooper Cup. Let's start with the teams that should not be in the tournament. North Carolina and Texas have no business being in the field. This was pure name brand privilege that these two made the field. Absolutely ridiculous. Shouldn't be in, period. I think, Rolly, that we are setting up for a very chalk tournament, which sounds dangerous to even say.
I know. I'm scared to say it. I've said it like 3 times.
But you could argue we're due for a chalk tournament. It's been a while since we've had a very chalky tournament.
I will say this, though, and I agree with you to a certain degree, but last year was the first time in a long time that all 1s and 2s made it to the second weekend.
That's true. That's true. But we haven't had all 4 1s make the Final Four since 2008. So it's been a while since that's happened. My Final Four, I'm going 3 1s. Give me Duke. I think Flagg's going to be fine. He's going to have a terrific tournament. I think this Auburn team, that offense is so good. And I know they lost early in the SEC tournament. Give them a couple extra days off. They should benefit from that. Broome and company, that offense is terrific. I like Auburn to get there. And then I got Houston. I love their defense. They got good guards. Guards win in March. Watch out for Houston. And then I'll go St. John's. Rick Pitino gets in the Final Four. And I got Duke to win the whole thing. That hurts me to say. I do not want Duke to win this tournament. But I will go Duke to win it all. My Jayhawks, I don't feel great about. The matchup with Arkansas, if Arkansas's healthy, Arkansas should win that game. But we'll see about their health status. I don't see either team getting past St. John's, though. I think that you're setting up whoever wins that is just going to lose St. John's in the second round.
Don't disagree there. And that is Tyler Jones.
Jones Report.
The Jones Report.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Tyler Jones, for coming on. All right, we still have 3,600 people watching.
I will immediately renege what Tyler Jones just said about his Kansas Jayhawks. They are beating the Johnnies in round 2.
Wait, you're going against St. John's now.
Yes, I just said Maryland's making the Final Four out of that region.
I didn't know you were picking Johnny's to lose before the second weekend.
They can't shoot free throws. It will.
Sipe is stunned. Sipe is stunned.
It will be a free throw game. St. John's does nothing but play in close games. I am the biggest detractor. And I'll be rooting for him, Tommy. Don't get me wrong. I'll be rooting for Biggie Ricky Pitino. But they will falter at the free throw line when it matters down the stretch. They won't be able to hit the outside shot. It's a hot take, man. It really is a hot take, but I'm not buying in. I'm not buying in.
I can't believe that you just did that.
I'm sorry.
I'm stunned.
It's on camera. It'll be here forever, and I'll stand on business. I'll be rooting for them. Like I said, I want them to go far. I want America's team, New York's team, to be in the Final Four, cutting down some nets.
All right.
They have flaws. They have flaws.
So what we're going to do here, Smitty, is we're going to do a cut full bracket reaction. We have some graphics to make. Justin, if you could make them real quick for me, that would be great. We should have the last 4 in, first 4 out. So I'll type it down here in this little group. We also have that snubbed way in now, or is that on read only so it's gone? But we should have
I can just make
if we can have a sub, who will win March Madness, who got snubbed. We'll do those 3 weigh-ins, and then we'll just break down the bracket.
So who will win the national championship?
Yeah, we have that. Last 4 in. So this would be a List 10 logo here. Behind the scenes as we go here. Bubble watch. Last 4 in was San Diego State. And then it was. Do you know which one it went and ranked and who was the actual last 4 in that, or do you think that doesn't matter?
I don't. I know it was. I know the first 4 out better than I know the last 4 in order. I don't.
Texas, and then we got first 4 out. West Virginia. Boise State was there. It was Ohio State, Indiana, correct?
Yeah. Boise was the 4th team out.
I know that. I actually think I got it. I think it went West Virginia, Indiana, Ohio State, Boise State.
Yes, that was the first 4 out.
Yeah, so if you could make that, and then we'll have that. We got the bracket chunks. And then if we have those weigh-ins, we should be good to go. No sponsor for this. It'll be just subs.
Okay.
And then we'll do another run through the bracket here. And then after this run through on the bracket, that's where it will be up to the people in the chat if we want to stay live or not. And talk more basketball. But I will say, I think we have a super chat.
Do we have one?
That we didn't get on. I think it was a $5 about UConn, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. I hope I'm not mistaken. I thought I saw one come in.
There we go.
Yeah, from King TL. Shout out to King TL. Who do you think will win between Oklahoma and UConn? We alluded to it if you were watching during our second run through the bracket. I think we both lean the Huskies just for the coaching advantage between Dan Hurley and Porter Moser, the experience from Diarra, Samson Johnson, Alex Caravan. They both have good talent. Solo Ball, Liam McNeely. I just think Oklahoma's going to get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
Sean says, Nick, I will take you up $100 that Grand Canyon will upstate Maryland. I'm in. I will ride with my Terps. I think Grand Canyon doesn't stand a chance.
Grand Canyon doesn't stand a chance.
A chance.
They don't have the size inside to compete with Queen.
Guess the line, Smitty. I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're out yet.
I'm going to say it's Maryland minus 5.5.
I think it's that low.
It'd be you want 10.5?
I was going to say 7.5.
7.5.
Which I guess is only a 2-point difference.
Yeah.
But
big enough.
Sean Black, I remember you. Doesn't sound like it's going to be a very two-sided bet here, though, Sean, because if Maryland wins, I don't think I'll ever see you again. And if Maryland loses, I think you'll just be blowing up my DMs. So we'll see how that goes.
So
appreciate the $5 super chat, King.
Weigh-ins that we need is just who will win and who's the biggest snub?
Who's your biggest snub? And then do we have like a standard sub?
Not have one.
If we can,
I can make one.
Yeah, if we could just get that, then we'll be good to go here. Max's high point upset versus Purdue. Purdue's, as much as people want to say, and they're going to point to the Purdue losing a couple years ago in the first round, and then they came back and won the Natty. I don't think Purdue is an easy team to upset, Smitty,
No.
because they've got good interior play with Kaufman Run.
Yep.
They have decent guard play with Braden Smith. So it's hard to beat a team like that in the first round. I will say that. This is hard. It's hard. Sean says, I got some gear to mail roll-off ride for the Craft 5. I will gladly represent Maryland basketball.
This look good? I just got to try to.
Yeah, if you can you extend that and fit that? Texas Tech Final Four. I'm not in on that. I don't think so. But you never know. Could. Max says, I saw something saying that there has been a double-digit seed in the Sweet 16 for like the last 15 years. If that's true, would you have? Yeah, I do. That is something that occurs a lot. And that's why when you look at these brackets, you can't go completely chalk, even though you might be able to do it with the 1s and 2s, because this is even though there's a lot of parity and a lot of chaos this year, the top 8 teams, I think there is quite a tier break. I'm not going to lie, Smitty, from the top 8 from the rest of the field.
Like tiers, like the 1s and 2 seeds versus everybody else? Yeah.
Yeah, like,
clearly.
it
Even
is.
the 3 seeds are brutal sometimes.
But they're, like Wisconsin is a 3. Like
Is Texas A&M a 3?
No, a 4.
Okay. Well, they stink too.
But yeah, you mentioned the stat about there just being a double-digit seed in the second round every year almost. Like, I agree. I think that happens all the time. And what was the one that I thought? I think we were both kind of on
A double-digit seed?
McNeese.
Colorado State.
Colorado State could.
I was on VCU to make the second weekend.
Yeah, that was the 11 seed. I think I was on Drake almost, if they're able to get by Missouri.
Yeah, listen, if they can get by Missouri, they have a chance.
Because they're playing
such a well-oiled machine.
No, that's VCU that would be playing Wisconsin in the second round. What's the one where Drake's in? What 3 seed would they be playing?
Let me see here. They are what's region are they in? They're in the East?
McNeese.
I think they're in
They were 12. No, they were 12.
Oh.
Drake. Oh yeah, I could see Drake being Texas Tech.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I could see Drake. I could see Drake being that team because they have an unbelievable guard in Bennett Shirts. If you don't know him, look him up. And they play unbelievable defense. They control the pace. They don't turn the ball over.
And they are a team who's won championships before, albeit at Division II level. Ben McCollum is one of the best coaches in all of basketball.
He might be one and done at Drake because it sounds like Indiana, who definitely after missing the tourney is probably going to make a change with Mike Woodson.
Yep.
Sounds like they're going to throw it back at McCollum.
Yep,
So,
I can see it.
be interesting there.
Who knows? Maybe even Iowa.
Yeah. No more McCaffrey. That's a sad sight to see.
That is sad.
Sad sight to see.
So how do you want to kind of go about this? Is there nothing's kind of scripted out, right?
I kind of have it here.
Oh, you do? Let me see.
I mean, we just kind of go through the bracket. You know what we'll do is that we'll go list 10 logo of the bubble,
Okay.
and then we'll work through each bracket. What we can do is we can both be on the show.
Sure.
I'll just run through the entire bracket, go full screen East region, like region by region, and then we'll just go. How about we highlight a grouping? Where we bring it on, we talk about it, and then we move on to a different region, but also make sure we can go. Let's do this. Yeah, let's do this. We go intro.
Yep. Full screen.
Bubble. First full screen list 10 logo. Subscribe. East region. Who will win March Madness? Or no. All right, let's change this around. We'll go bubble, list 10 logo, who got snubbed.
Yep.
Then East region.
Okay.
Then the South region.
Then subscribe.
Then subscribe.
Okay.
Then the Midwest.
Midwest, then the West.
Who wins it all?
Oh, who wins it all? Then the West.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do the other 2 brackets and then who wins it.
And then who wins it all? And then subscribe L3 at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
and then we'll highlight one quadrant in each region after breaking, going through it all.
Okay, so
And that's where me and you could be both 2 cam. So we're about to do another bracket run through here for the 2,600 people watching. We've been live for over 2 hours. Appreciate everyone who's joined in. Is that List 10 logo built? Yeah. Cool.
how's that for an L3 to start?
Yeah. Perfect. Works for me.
G. Yeah.
Works for me.
Shout out to the over 2,500 people still rocking and rolling with us here on the stream. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're trying to bring you guys more college hoops content here at Chat Sports, and the only way we can do that is if you guys subscribe.
Justin, if you wanted to, potentially, while we do this video, if you want to take a stab at the thumbnail for this video as well, go ahead. You can just look back and search on last year's. Just look up March Madness in the Chat Sports, and you'll see the VOD that we did last year if you just want to mirror that. I think last year we just did the 4 1 seeds in top left, right, top right, bottom left, bottom right with the Final Four logo in the middle, and then just March Madness bracket as the title bar. If you want to do something like that, be very much appreciated. So we'll push that out right after we sign off live. All right. Appreciate everyone. Make sure you are subscribed, like Smitty mentioned. It's been a lot of fun to break this down. We're at 89,000 people who have tuned in throughout the day. It's been absolutely awesome. Demolished our record of viewership on a March Madness Selection Sunday stream by double, Smitty.
Yes, I saw it was 43,000.
The first 2 years we've done this, 2023 and 2024, 43.6K, 43.8K, respectively. This year, we got 89,000, and we're still counting. So appreciate all you guys for being real ones. And still 2,500 people watching. That's awesome. Still have brought it, even though we've been live for, a full almost hour after the bracket got revealed? Pretty much. Yeah, that's the one before.
Oh, I see. Wait, is it this? Oh, this is the bubble teams. Where's the? I don't see it. Where'd you put it?
About to finalize here our final graphic, and then we'll get going here. You get to watch us work on the fly. That's the fun thing about being live on YouTube. Get behind the scenes. Talent says Michigan State win it all. Listen, I have them in the Final Four. What I have in my initial, I hate the so instant reaction.
I can't. I gotta go to the ESPN Tournament Challenge app on my phone. I gotta go see, and I gotta look at the numbers. It's all matchup dependent.
I gotta. How far in advance do you look matchup dependent?
How far in advance? What do you mean?
If you are making your bracket, right?
Yeah.
And you are picking your teams, if you predict a matchup between Michigan State and Auburn in the Elite Eight, are you looking at the numbers on how those two teams would fare, or are you just saying at this point, it's anyone's game?
It's probably at that point it's anyone's game.
That's what I'm saying. I think you could look at
first
the numbers,
two matchups.
The round of 64 and round of 32.
Yes.
I look at the matchup.
Because you get a whole week in between to prepare for your Sweet 16 matchup.
Correct. So that's one of the differentiators. When you're making your bracket initially, you just got to go off the numbers in the first matchup in the round of 32, and then once you go on from there, it's just vibes. It's just vibes where you pick. That's kind of how I do it. And you might be asking, should I even be up here talking about this? Well, it's hard to pick national champions. It is.
It is.
But I didn't get it right last year. I unfortunately tried the big brain it, and I did not pick UConn, even though they were clearly the best. The year prior, in 2023, I picked Alabama and UConn to be in the national championship game. I had the 4th-seeded Huskies in the national championship game against Alabama when they had Brandon Miller.
Just a year early.
And I was just a year early on the Huskies, unfortunately. Or a year late.
Is this right?
No. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I don't know if it's exactly that last 4 in, but
it's similar.
That's fine. We know the first 4 out is completely right. So, but the years before that, in 2021, me and Smitty both nailed Baylor.
Oh yeah, both nailed Baylor.
And then in the tournament before that, because no 2020 tournament, COVID, 2019, we both nailed Virginia.
I nailed Virginia. I also nailed. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if maybe you're misremembering. I did not nail Baylor. I had Gonzaga winning it all.
I thought you were with Baylor with me.
No, I rooted for Baylor. I wanted them to win. I had them going far. I actually think I had them losing to Gonzaga in the final.
Oh, I thought that was the thing, is that me and you both got it right in back-to-back years.
No, I got it the following year for Kansas. I had Kansas picked back in January, and
Okay.
I have the ticket to prove it.
Okay. All right, well, that probably marks it here. We got 2,100 people watching. I think we're fully ready to go. So we're going to go break down the bracket one more time. Appreciate everyone still hanging out with us here on this Sunday afternoon.
All right, ready to roll?
Let's do it when you're ready. The field of 68 is set, and we are going to break it down on today's show. I am Nick Roloff here of Chat Sports. We have a lot of things to talk about, bubble, drama, overall number one seeds, and we'll go bracket through bracket, region through region, and give some thoughts alongside Tyler Smith. But we're going to start with what happened on the bubble. In an absolute stunning fashion, the committee went with the national programs. North Carolina, despite having a terrible resume, 1-12 in quad one opportunities, they are the last team in. They were playing in Dayton in the first four. They were playing the they're playing San Diego State, the Aztecs from the Mountain West. They were the first team to miss out on a bye. And then you had the Xavier Musketeers from the Big East and the Texas Longhorns. In an absolute stunner, the SEC gets another team in. Texas and Xavier will be playing in Dayton. And then the first four out, West Virginia, who many bracketologists, not that I will consider myself one of them, had as a field lock, almost as a 10 seed. They miss it. They're the first team out. The Big Ten don't get a couple squads in. Indiana and Ohio State both missed the tournament. And then a team that Smitty and I, who we'll talk about with in just a second, Boise State had as in the field, weren't even close, the fourth team out of the tournament. I am stunned by North Carolina and Texas both going in, and I want to get your thoughts down in the comment section. Who is your biggest snub from the bracket? I know during our live show, a lot of people said West Virginia. I would agree with that, but I would also argue that Boise State deserved to get in more over Indiana, more over North Carolina, and definitely over Texas. All right, with that being said, let's get into the regions. We're actually going to start in the East with the number 2 overall seed, number 1 seed, though, for the Duke Blue Devils, the ACC champions. They'll be taking on the winner of American and Mount St. Mary's. Mississippi State and Baylor in the 8-9, and an intriguing matchup here in the 4 and 5 seeds, Oregon Liberty, Arizona, Akron. The bottom of this bracket, BYU, VCU, Wisconsin, Montana, St. Mary's, Vanderbilt, and Alabama, Robert Morris. There are a lot of different fascinating quadrants in this East region. Smitty and I both believe this is the region of death, if you will. That BYU-VCU game is awesome. Winner of that game, both Smith and I believe will beat Wisconsin. But then you also got that Oregon and the Arizona 4-5 quadrant. And Smitty, I actually want to bring you on to talk about that quadrant. Oregon, Liberty, Arizona, and Akron. Those two teams, Arizona, Oregon, hot right now. If they get to the Sweet 16, either one of them, do they have a chance to take on and beat the Duke Blue Devils?
Listen, I mean, they have the Duke Blue Devils boogeyman, if we're talking about the Arizona Wildcats right now, in Caleb Love. They, I believe, matched up earlier in the season. Duke obviously got the win, but these teams are very well coached. You even think about a team like Akron, who's super well coached. He's been there forever. Oregon, Dana Altman, you could pencil him in for a tournament win plus every single season as the most wins in the month of March since 2010-11. Like, he's a big game coach. And you know what? For the Duke team is coached by a young guy in John Shire, who has been ascending over the past couple seasons. Sweet 16 appearance, Elite 8 appearance, has yet to make a Final Four yet. These teams who have veteran experience and veteran coaching can give them a big-time punch, especially if Cooper Flagg isn't 100%.
And before we move over to the South region, let's talk quickly about that VCU, BYU kind of quadrant there against Wisconsin, Montana. We're on opposite sides here. I think BYU beats VCU. BYU out of the Big 12, one of the hottest teams. They have a lot of good firepower offensively, but they can defend. Richie Saunders, Agor Demen. They got a couple good big men inside as well. Wisconsin, runner-ups in the Big 10. Both of us believe that the winner of BYU-VCU will ultimately take down Wisconsin in the round of 32 if the Badgers are there.
Absolutely. That's something that we can both agree on, but I am on the side of the VCU Rams, winners of the Atlantic 10 tournament, and they just have so many bodies they could throw at you, especially on the perimeter. Joe Bamisil, Max Scholga, Jack Clark, Philip Russell IV. Like, they have shooters, they have point-of-attack defenders, and they can really make life hell for a BYU team who looks to get it working on the perimeter as well.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see how this region plays out. Both Smitty and I believe it is the strongest region in this NCAA tournament bracket, and this will now take us to the South region, where the #1 overall seed, the Auburn Tigers, despite losing 3 of their last 4 games, although those losses against Texas A&M, Alabama, and Tennessee, a 2, 2, and 4 seed in the tournament, they still keep the #1 overall spot. Louisville, underseeded in my opinion as an 8, but they will take on Creighton Blue Jays, and then another really good quadrant here in the 4-5 world. Michigan, the Big Ten champs, over the Big West champs. UC San Diego, really good player they have. Alan Trey Jones, keep an eye on that matchup. But then Texas A&M, Yale. Texas A&M, I'm a little bit lower on them than most. The Ivy League champs, Yale Bulldogs, playing at an exceptionally high level. Might be better than last year's team, which beat Auburn, by the way, in the first round. Bottom of the South region, Ole Miss playing the winner of San Diego State UNC in that first 4 matchup. Iowa State Lipscomb. Iowa State, I think, is flying very much under the radar in this bracket, by the way, Smitty. And then you got Marquette, New Mexico, 7-10. And then Tom Izzo and his Spartans in the 2-15 hosting the Bryant Bulldogs in Cleveland. But I do want to focus in on this quadrant here in the South. Michigan, UC San Diego, Texas A&M, Yale. So many different storylines for so many different reasons. 1, Michigan's best NBA prospect, might not be his best player, but best NBA prospect, Danny Wolf, transferred from Yale last off season. Could they match up in the round of 32? But I said this during our live show, Smitty, and I think you agreed with me. There are infinitely different matchups you can have between Michigan, Texas A&M, Michigan, Yale, UC San Diego, Texas A&M, UC San Diego, Yale. Anyone would not surprise me. Any team in this 4 is capable of beating the other.
Would not be surprised if anybody came out of this little quadrant here to the second weekend. And then you look at like a matchup in Texas A&M and Yale, who kind of almost mirrors the Auburn-Yale matchup from last year, where Yale is this perimeter team that can light it up from outside. They play a really sound, slow brand. And Texas A&M is that punch-you-in-the-mouth athletic bunch that really tries to win games on the heels of their defense. That's going to be a very, very intriguing game. I think Yale's very underrated defensively as well. That one's going to be close, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And then if you even wanted to take it even a step further and make it crazy and look at these matchups, Smitty, we talked about these potential ones here in the round of 32. Imagine if Yale somehow makes a run to the Sweet 16 and plays Auburn again.
Boogeyman.
Would it be boogeyman scenario for the Tigers, or would they be able to exercise their demons?
We'll see.
At the bottom of this bracket, we'll quickly talk about this. I think Michigan State rolls here. New Mexico's good in the Mountain West, led that conference the entire year, but fell short in the tournament. Marquette, really good ball club, led by Cam Jones, NBA-type player there. I like both of these teams, but I don't see any of them beating Michigan State in the round of 30.
So that was the question that I was going to pose to you. You don't think the offensive firepower of neither Marquette nor New Mexico can kind of withstand what Michigan State's able to do on both ends?
I personally do not think it can.
Okay.
I will be going with the Spartans, and spoiler alert, if you follow me on Twitter or watched our live show, I think Michigan State might end up winning the South region.
Ooh.
All right, we break down everything here at Chat Sports, whether it's NFL, NBA, college football, college basketball. And listen, me and Smitty are college basketball diehards. If you want more college basketball content on the channel, show our bosses by hitting that sub button, because if you do, and we get a lot of subscribers that want college basketball content, we will bring it. We are men of the people. We are democracy here at Chat Sports. So if you want more college basketball content, hit that sub button. Let's get over to the Midwest region now. The 3rd overall seed, Houston Cougars, Big 12 champions. They are taking on SIU Edwardsville. But then you got an intriguing set of matchups here with Gonzaga, Georgia in the 8-9, Clemson, McNeese, and then Purdue High Point in the 4-5 kind of quadrant. And the bottom of this bracket is where things get a lot more interesting, in my opinion. Illinois hosting in Milwaukee, the winner of Texas Xavier in the first 4. The Kentucky Wildcats in their first season without Calipari, with Mark Pope as a 3 seed. Then at the bottom, very intriguing styles of play. UCLA, Utah State, Tennessee, Wofford. Would expect Tennessee to hold off the Terriers in the first game. But then that second game between Tennessee and the winner of UCLA, Utah State, first team to 50 will win that game. Talk about defense. But let's focus in, as we have so often, on the 4-5s here. Because to me, Smitty, and
these are where the upsets are made, right?
Clemson and Purdue, we are both low on them.
Yes.
And we both see McNeese potentially beating Clemson, but also winning in the round of 32 to be that vaunted double-digit seed that makes it to the second round.
Every single year you see a double-digit seed make it to the Sweet 16 plus, and McNeese, who got kind of bullied and ran out of the gym by the Gonzaga Bulldogs last year, they match up with a Clemson team who made it all the way to the Elite Eight. So you kind of have a little bit of, oh, this team's got a little bit of fire that they want to exercise their demons of getting out of this round of 64, and another team who is wanting to build upon making it very far, being minutes away from making the Final Four in uncharted territory for Clemson. I could see McNeese pulling the upset here, a very physical bunch.
Yeah, and I think early thoughts, I am going to pick McNeese to the Sweet 16. I mean, I just am. I'm low on Purdue. I thought they got overseeded here. I thought they could have been on the 6th line, yet they're a 4 seed.
Very popular upset pick in 2024, McNeese was, but maybe everybody was just a year early.
I think that could be the case. All right, let's head to the final region, the West region, where the SEC champion Florida Gators will be the number 1 seed. You could argue that they are among one of the 3 hottest teams in college basketball coming into this tournament. They dominated at the end of the year, and what is their reward? A potential meeting with the 2-time defending champion UConn Huskies in the round of 32 on Sunday afternoon.
Brutal.
Yeah, brutal indeed. But then you get to the 5-12, 4-13, and we've highlighted this pairing in almost every bracket.
We're going to do it again in a second.
Memphis, Colorado State, and Maryland, Grand Canyon. Talk about a quadrant in Seattle on Friday. Then let's get to the bottom of the West. Missouri, Drake, 2 contrasting teams there. Drake plays unbelievably slow. Missouri tries to run and gun you out of the gym. Texas Tech out of the Big 12 playing well, but host UNC Wilmington on Thursday. And then a very intriguing bottom quadrant here. Kansas versus Arkansas. Bill Self, John Calipari, first-round matchup. Would have never thought that to be possible 2 years ago. And the winner of that game could be playing the Big East champion and Rick Pitino. Talk about a coaching quadrant in Providence. The Big East champs, they are 30-4 in his second season. But we're going to go right back to that 4-5 pairing because I am very high on Maryland. I am very high on Colorado State, the Mountain West champion, who have Nick Clifford, one of my favorite players in this entire tournament. I am torn. I think Maryland could go on a run. I think Colorado State could be a double-digit seed that makes the second weekend here. What a quadrant we have in Seattle.
PJ Haggerty, Nick Clifford. We have pro-level talent on both sides of this matchup. And then Derek Queen, who's going to be a first-round pick. Tyon Grant Foster has been one of the best players in mid-major college basketball over the last couple of seasons. There is star power in this quadrant. And like we said with a couple other of these 4-5, 12-13 ordeals earlier, I wouldn't be surprised if any of these teams came out here.
Yeah, and both of us have kind of been hinting at the chance that we believe Kevin Willard and these Maryland Terrapins, who have been one of the most statistically dominant starting 5 lineups with Julian Reese, with Derek Queen, with Rice. They have good guard play. They have good front court. The only thing that is questionable about Maryland is their depth, but if they can stay healthy and stay out of foul trouble, it is going to be hard to beat Maryland in a one-game setting.
Absolutely. This region really has some of the most intriguing matchups in the round of 64 when you look at Missouri and Drake as well in their 6-11 game. 2 contrasting styles. Missouri up and down, run and gun. Drake use a lot of the shot clock, get good shots down the stretch as it's expiring, and they can hit it from outside as well. Play defense at an elite level on all levels.
I mean, shout out Ryan Hammer and the trapezoid of excellence, but if you look at that chart, which will tell you what teams are most likely to go on a run in this tournament, Drake is in a category of their own of how slow they play. There is a category of their own for offensive pace as well. Missouri is closer to that, which is why it's going to be so fun to see these 2 teams play. But before we go back and look at this region as a whole, let's look at that bottom part again. The coaching.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Self, Calipari, Pitino. Have we ever seen a first weekend quadrant have this high profile of coaching before? I don't think we have.
I don't think we have either, and it's a down year for Kansas, who came in as the preseason #1 overall seed, and then you have a team like Arkansas, who was very highly touted in the non-conference, and they kind of faltered in conference play. Not really inspiring there, but still, you have these 2 legendary coaches who can go out there in a one-game setting and beat virtually anybody. And then you have Pitino and St. John's, who have been America's team, basically, going on Jimmy Fallon and all that nonsense. And you know, they're going to kind of get screwed here, not necessarily running into a super talented roster, whether it be Kansas or Arkansas, but an elite coaching matchup. And I think Kansas, if they were to match up with St. John's, it would be a very, very close game.
Yeah, this will be a good second game for sure, whether it's Arkansas St. John's, whether it's Kansas St. John's, hoping that Rick Pitino's crew can not get upset by Omaha there just so we get to see it in there. So that's it. We'll run through the bracket one last time.
Very quickly,
in the
of course.
South, Auburn, number 1 overall seed. Bottom here in this bracket is Michigan State is the 2, Iowa State is the 3, which I'll say it again, I don't think they're getting talked about enough. But either way, over to the East, Duke as the number 1 overall seed. Alabama, Nate Oates, the number 2 overall seed, looking to get back to the Final Four after making it for the first time in program history last season. Wisconsin is the 3. Houston, the 1 seed in the Midwest. Not a lot of action here up top. I expect Houston to cruise. At the bottom is where it gets interesting with Kentucky, Tennessee, Illinois, Texas, Xavier. Be fascinating to see that one. And then the final region, the West, Florida, SEC champs, Maryland, Memphis. 4-5, fascinating. Bottom, the coaching on display with McCollum, Self, Calipari, Pitino. Be fun to see who comes out of the bottom of the West. But as we've run through the bracket now multiple times, I want to get everyone's thoughts. Claim your stakes. Get the receipts out there before the bracket and the tournament tips off officially on Thursday, but we got first 4 games on Tuesday and Wednesday. Who will be cutting down the nets in early April? Who's your national championship pick? Who's the favorite? Get down in the comment section and let me know. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel because like I said earlier, you subscribe, more college basketball content could be coming on the way, including potential live streams for the March Madness games. Day 1, Day 2, Final 4, all potentially in the cards if you guys show us that you want more college basketball content. So do it. Hit that sub button.
Let's go, man.
All right.
We're dancing.
All right. Officially been live for 2.5 hours. It's been a lot of fun here on Chat Sports. A lot of fun.
This has been dope, man. I'm so glad to be a part of this. So glad to see everybody showing love and supporting the stream today. It has been a blast, and I can't wait till we start Thursday at 12:40.
What time is
Eastern.
it here? Isn't it earlier our time?
It'll be like 11:40 Eastern.
Yeah,
It'll be before noon.
I was gonna say it starts before noon. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Still 2,200 people watching. If you guys want specific thoughts, questions, we'll stay live for a little bit here and answer questions with super chats if they come in. If not, that's cool. But wanted to give you guys the opportunity to talk more hoops, ask us questions, and on that note, we get a super chat from Camden. Shout out to you.
Boom.
Send a $5. What is he gonna say here? I see a little bit. I like it. All right, Camden with the 5. Appreciate you, my friend, for getting in here.
Camden, what's up, bro?
Saying, while I'm a Kentucky fan, we might be out early. Ooh.
Also,
Whoa.
high on Baylor.
Negativity.
I
Could
think
make
they
a
can
sneaky
make
run. So Baylor's in the 8-9 game. Let's go. Let's take a look at the Baylor Bears.
Sure.
Because if I'm not mistaken, they're the 8-9 in the Duke region, right?
In the Duke region?
Is it the East?
They are.
Yeah.
They ain't beating Duke.
They ain't beat Duke. I think they could beat Mississippi State.
Oh, they should beat Mississippi State.
Should. Who do you think's favored in that game?
I think it's Baylor -1.5.
You think?
Yeah. Mississippi State stinks. I used to think they were good, and I got bamboozled.
Yeah, I'm not in on Mississippi State.
And what's that 3-letter phrase that people love to champion this month? Guards in March. Baylor's got a bunch.
Baylor's got a ton of guards, man. I'd actually argue that. Listen, I've been high on Baylor all year long. I would argue they have better guards than Duke.
Yeah. But Duke kills them on the wing and in the front
Yeah,
court.
yeah. I mean, I like Baylor as a whole. Like, it just has never made sense to me why they've never been able to put it together this year. They have a top 5 pick in VJ Edgecombe, who's just an athletic freak.
I have a top-end transfer in Norchad Omier down low.
Yeah, from Miami, who has Final Four experience.
Jeremy Roach, who has Final Four experience.
Right. Jeremy Roach. You have Jaden Nunn. Like, it just doesn't make sense why Baylor didn't put it together this year. Maybe they can get hot and give Duke a run.
I will say that I think 75% plus of brackets will have Baylor moving on to the face Duke.
I agree, and that
Minimum
kind of
75.
scares me a little bit. Is
Yeah.
it one of those things where it's so public where Mississippi State should probably be
Well,
the pick?
It's funny because this exact scenario happened last year at Mississippi State. They got matched up with Izzo and the Spartans
That's
in the
right.
8-9 game, and everybody took Sparty, and they moved on.
Yeah, that's possible. That's possible. I like Baylor, but I don't see them beating Duke. I don't. But that is a tough draw for Duke to get Baylor.
Yeah.
I will say, though, out of all the 8-9s, I think Duke got the second easiest. I think the easiest is the winner of Louisville-Creighton.
Well, because they have to play Auburn, right?
Yeah, but like I'm just saying, like just in general, like take away who the 1 seed is. The winner of Louisville-Creighton, I think, would be worse than the
Tougher.
winner of less tough.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying this is the easiest 8-9 matchup.
Oh, okay.
It's like to be the next team to play.
Okay.
Because I'll take.
You're not buying it on Creighton.
No, I like Creighton, but I'll take Mississippi State, Baylor over them. I'll take Gonzaga, Georgia over them. I would, because I think Gonzaga wins. I think Gonzaga's.
That's true. I just don't like Georgia.
Yeah, and then I would take UConn, Oklahoma.
Sure.
So I think Duke, Duke did get a little bit of a tougher draw, probably the third.
Okay. I'm not concerned with this matchup for Duke.
Do you think
Baylor? I will
Baylor?
say Cooper Flag will have to play though.
You think winner of Baylor, Mississippi State is more difficult than winner of Gonzaga, Georgia?
Yeah, just for the sole fact that Georgia's involved. I don't think they're very good. And Gonzaga is just like. I would take Gonzaga over Mississippi State, over Baylor, and over Georgia.
Yeah, tough. Rob Simpey saying, "Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets."
Ridiculous.
Yeah, that looks awesome. I'd maybe make the logos of the 4 1 seeds just slightly bigger. But other than that, it looks great. I like that.
Dope.
All right. Once again,
just rocking and rolling here as long as you guys want to chop it up.
Super chats keep on flowing. We'll keep on breaking down the bracket. There's only so much we can say.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we've said the same things over and over again, which is what it is. That's what a bracket show is. I guess we'll give it a couple minutes. If super chats don't come in, maybe you hop off. But I'll ask you this, Smitty. Initial. Like I said, I'm not holding you to this. Final 4.
Duke's gonna make it. God damn it, I gotta look at the bracket. Duke is gonna make it. Out of the Auburn region, I'm sticking my guns. Auburn and Duke, I'm penciling in. I'm doing it. I'm not.
I said I was.
I'm not getting cute.
You're not getting cute with Auburn?
No. They were the best team for 30 games all year, and they've struggled over the last few. Maybe they've just been a little burnt out, need a break.
Maybe.
Give me out of the. I like Tennessee to finally get through
over
Houston.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if Houston will even make it. You never know.
Who on that side is beating them? You think Gonzaga
could beat them?
Gonzaga
could beat them.
I don't think Gonzaga beat them.
And then in the West region, I said it before. Give me Maryland.
I like that.
Duke, Auburn, Maryland, and what was the other one I said? Tennessee. Duke, Auburn, Maryland, Tennessee. That's so greasy and egregious that it's definitely not going to happen.
Oh, I mean,
that's my gut reaction right now. It's subject to change as the week goes.
If you get 2 out of 4 final picks correct, that you did something right that
Absolutely.
year. You did something right that year. Off dome for me.
Go for it.
I'm going Michigan State.
Over Auburn. Sure.
Over Auburn in the South. Going St. John's in the West. Beating Maryland in the Elite Eight. So I do think Maryland makes a run. I'm going to go Houston.
Okay.
In the Midwest. And I'm going to go Duke in the South.
You could convince me very easily
in
in 2 seconds to pick Michigan State over Auburn, by the way.
So I got, in my Final 4, I got 2 seeds.
Yeah.
St. John's, Michigan State, 2 1s. Duke and Houston. You had 2 1 seeds.
2 1 seeds, a 4 and a 2.
And a 4 and a 2. Which, wasn't it that last year? Because Alabama was a 4.
Alabama was a 4 last year?
Mm-hmm.
Jeez. Then you had
UConn
Purdue
and Purdue was a 1 and a 1.
And then you had
oh, no, it was NC State.
NC State was an 11.
11. So 2 1s, a 4, and an 11 last year.
By the way, an 11 seed getting to the Final Four last year tells me that we are getting chalk.
Yeah, which you heard Tyler Jones say it earlier, like we haven't had chalk in a while. And even though we did have an 11 seed make the Final Four last year, you could argue last season was one of the most chalky brackets we've had.
Not a ton of upsets.
No. Well, a couple upsets early, but like it all shook itself out. Like I said, every 1 and 2 seed made it to the second weekend, which was the first time that's happened in a very long time. And I believe that we had multiple 1 and 2 Elite Eights.
Yeah.
Because was Illinois a 2 seed? Because that was the Elite Eight between them and UConn.
I think they were the 3.
They were the 3.
Yeah.
Purdue, Tennessee was 1-2.
1-2.
NC State played Duke,
and that was
which is a 1 or
2-11. Because sorry, that's not possible.
No, it's 1.
No, because Houston was the 1 in that region. No,
was Duke a 4?
they would have had to have been.
I think they were.
That's crazy.
Yeah, can't remember. $5 Super from Jordan, also a first timer for Jordan. So let's get a 2 clap for Jordan.
Let's get a little 2 clap for Jordan.
That's not good. One more time. 2 clap for Jordan. Yeah, that was better.
We don't have the 2 clap chem yet.
Yeah. Me and Justin got it down.
Okay.
Me and Justin got it down. If they were to meet, who stands a better chance of beating Duke, Houston or Florida? Who has the best shot of beating Duke?
I mean, Duke's offense is so good, and I know they're a top defensive team. Like, they're just top on both ends. Florida need to shoot the lights out.
I go Florida.
Yeah,
I go Florida over Houston because
although that would be a revenge game for Houston.
Because Florida has a big man inside Alex Condon.
They have a lot of size inside.
He can battle with Malawach inside, without a question. They have the guards. They will have the guard advantage with Walter Clayton, Will Richard. 2 elite guards.
Guys who've been there multiple seasons now.
I really like Florida. I do. I think they're really good. And they're the hottest team coming in the tournament. I just think Maryland matches up very well with them, and that's why Maryland would beat them. Also, a Duke-Florida matchup would not come until the championship game.
National championship?
Duke-Houston would be potentially Final Four.
Yeah. Okay. Duke falls in Elite Eight. Rob Simpy?
Who are they losing to? Who on that bottom side of the bracket? BYU, VCU, Wisconsin, St. Mary's, Vanderbilt, Alabama.
Oh, my God. They're walking backwards. They're walking backwards to the Final Four.
Alabama would be fun.
Oh, that would be a fun game.
Because would Duke be able to keep up with Alabama's pace?
Yeah.
You think?
They could play any style, I think.
They've got good shooters in Proctor, Sion James, Kneppel, obviously.
Isaiah.
But what's Malik
Evans.
Brown's status?
He's dislocated shoulder. I haven't heard much of an update around Brown.
Would Malawach be able to get up and down the floor in that pace game, keeping up with Oluminari from Alabama and Grant Nelson?
Yeah, I mean,
and Nelson defending Cooper Flagg would be a lot of fun.
That would be one of the better matchups you can have one-on-one defensively on Flagg is Grant Nelson. He's super long. Has gotten stronger as he's aged. So that's an intriguing matchup. I think Alabama made the Final Four. They made national championship last year. They can make it happen.
All right, so I think we have some times coming out of these games. By the way,
Chills.
I'll read them all. I'll read the times off of this game.
This is actually like low-key my favorite part.
So you haven't seen them yet, so these will be.
Oh, can I guess?
Okay. So we'll get to Waldo's Super Chat here in a second, but we're going to read off times.
Uh-huh.
We're going to start on Thursday.
Sure.
First game of the day is 12:15 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, this is going to be a 7. It's a 7-10 every year. Is it a 7-10 this year?
It's an 8-9. It's either 7-10 or 8-9.
Okay. That game is UConn, Oklahoma.
Do you remember even the games that are on Thursday?
I don't know. No, I do not remember the games that are on Thursday.
I was like, that might be an issue.
Hold on. I'll pull up these quick brackets. I know where they all are. So we got Mississippi State. Oh, it's Mississippi State Baylor.
No.
They play on Friday. I'm an idiot.
You only have 2 choices here since I told you it was 8-9, and you can't get them.
I literally can't get them. It's either Gonzaga, Georgia, or it is
Louisville Creighton.
Louisville Creighton. Oh, that's Louisville Creighton.
It's Louisville Creighton.
Yeah, it's Louisville Creighton first.
All right, 12:40 p.m. Eastern time, 4:13 Purdue High Point.
Okay.
Then we will get over to 1:30. It's a 3:14 matchup, Wisconsin Montana, and then the final
Snooze fest.
the final game of the early slate on Thursday, 1:16 Houston SIU Edwardsville.
Okay.
Then as we get into the mid-afternoon slate, 2:50 p.m. Eastern time, 1 seed matchup again, Auburn versus the winner of St. Francis, PA and Alabama State. 3:15 p.m. Eastern time on True 2V, Clemson McNeese.
Ooh.
Then we get into the game of the day, 4:05 p.m. Eastern time in Denver.
Uh-huh.
Shocked it's this early, BYU VCU.
What time of day is that?
That would be 4:05 p.m. Eastern time.
Oh, wow.
which is, I believe, Mountain Time. So
Be
I think that's
2 hours back.
So 2:05.
2:05.
time.
Middle of the day, huh?
And then 4:35 Eastern Time on Thursday, Gonzaga, Georgia. 8-9. Then, as we get to the night games for Thursday evening, 6:50 p.m., Tennessee, Wofford. 7:10 p.m., all times Eastern. I'm going to stop saying Eastern Time. So all times Eastern, just so you guys know listening at home. Kansas, Arkansas at 7:10. Then we have 7:25, Texas A&M, Yale. And we round out the early night slate with Missouri, Drake in the 6:11 at 7:35. Then we get to the night slate. Those 4 games being UCLA, Utah State at 9:25, St. John's, Omaha at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Michigan, UC San Diego at 10 p.m. Eastern Time.
Oh, UC San Diego might be winning.
And then the last game of the night on Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, Texas Tech, UNC Wilmington.
Ooh. That's either a blowout or UNC Wilmington wins.
The slate of the day, if you're talking Thursday,
Having 4 games on at once.
the quadrant is clearly the early afternoon.
Early
in my
afternoon,
opinion.
like not talking about the first couple of games. We're talking about like the 3 o'clocks.
I'm talking early evening.
Okay.
Sorry if I said early
So
afternoon.
who's in that?
Early evening, Tennessee, Wofford, 6:50. Kansas, Arkansas, 7:10.
Mm-hmm.
Texas A&M, Yale, 7:25.
Oh,
Missouri, Drake, 7:35.
that's good stuff, man.
Night slate's good, though. UCLA, Utah State, St. John's, Omaha,
BYU.
Michigan, UC San Diego, Texas Tech, UNC.
Or BYU's in the early afternoon.
Yeah, late afternoon, I'll say this.
Yeah.
Late afternoon is where we have Auburn versus the 16, Clemson, McNeese, BYU, VCU, Gonzaga, Georgia. That's a good quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the early slate, Louisville, Creighton, Purdue, High Point, Wisconsin, Montana, Houston, SIU, Edwardsville.
Okay.
All right, now we're going to get to Friday. We're going to get to Friday here. Friday, first game of the day, 12:15, Mississippi State, Baylor.
Mm-hmm.
Second game of the day, 12:40, Alabama, Robert Morris.
Yep.
Third game of the day, 1:30, Iowa State, Lipscomb.
Oh my God, Iowa State's losing.
Fourth game of the day, 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Memphis, Colorado State.
I won't lie to you guys. Tip times matter.
I'm shocked that Seattle, Washington is 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Memphis, Colorado State.
That's 11 a.m.
Shocked. That does not benefit. Actually, that benefits Colorado State quite a bit
Absolutely.
because they're used to that time. Actually, no, it doesn't. Benefits Memphis. Right?
Just for playing earlier?
I don't know. Either way, 2:50 p.m. Eastern Time, Duke versus their 16 seed. 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time, St. Mary's Vanderbilt.
Interesting.
4:05 Eastern Time, Ole Miss, winner of North Carolina, San Diego State.
Fun.
4:35 p.m. Eastern Time, Maryland, Grand Canyon, Seattle. Then we get into the early evening, 6:50, Florida, Norfolk State. 7:10, Kentucky, Troy.
Yeah, let's fire. Let's keep going.
7:25, Marquette, New Mexico.
Yeah.
7:35, Arizona, Akron.
Mm-hmm.
And then the final slate of the night, Yukon, Oklahoma, 9:25.
Chills.
Illinois, winner of Xavier, Texas, 9:45. And then Michigan State, Bryant at 10 p.m. Two East Coast teams playing at 10 p.m.
Interesting.
Oregon, Liberty, final game of the night, 10 p.m.
Oregon Liberty is going to be a banger.
Yes. Quick takeaways. Both at-large first fours play on Friday. But we know for a fact they both aren't going to play on Wednesday. So one of those two games are going to have the advantage of having
Less time.
Wednesday, Thursday off.
Yeah.
The other matchup will have only Thursday off between games.
That's interesting. Who's the matchup that will be playing on? Oh, we don't know yet, right?
Sorry, what'd you say?
Do we not know who the matchup will be on Thursday?
What do you mean? You mean on the first four?
Sorry, first four. Yeah.
I haven't seen first four times yet. Maybe I'm wrong. The first four times were not on. I'm going to the website now to see if they did first four. Oh, I lied. First four. Here it is. Tuesday's first four. 6:40 Eastern, Alabama State, St. Francis. 9:10, San Diego State, North Carolina. Wednesday, 6:40, American Mount St. Mary's. 9:10 on Wednesday, Texas Xavier.
Does no good for Xavier, who needs to go out there and beat who they got?
They would be playing Illinois
Yeah, frauds.
if they win.
Tom Sipe with and announcers also factor in as well. He says Kevin Harlan calling Lipscomb, Iowa State, and Spiro Ditas calling Bryant, Michigan State. Uh-oh.
I will say Sparoditis and Kevin Harlan are the
Upset generators.
They attract. You know who also attracts upsets?
Brian Anderson?
Our guy Catalan.
Oh, Catalan is, Catalan is absolutely an upset maker. Because Steve Lapis is always just chirping while they have the ball near half court with like 10 seconds left.
Absolutely. You know who always gets snoozers? Is always the A crew.
Yeah.
So
they always get 1 seeds.
It used to be obviously the Bird, or it used to be Nance. Now it's the Birdman, Ian Eagle.
Yep.
He will be calling Mississippi State Baylor. And
that'll be a good game for him.
And Duke.
Yeah. So they always the A team always gets 1 seeds.
And then Florida, Norfolk State, and
Catalan on St. John's, Omaha. Tommy, you know Omaha can shoot the pill, right?
And then UConn, Oklahoma. Eagle on Oklahoma, UConn.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff.
All right, couple super chats here to get to. Shout out to Waldo. This is a first timer from Waldo.
Oh.
So we have no chance here. For Waldo. Much
Boom.
better. How far can Texas go? Likely to make it out of the first 4. I think Smitty, you and I both agree that we believe Xavier's going to win.
Cooked. Texas stinks, and you should not have wanted to make the tournament so you could fire Rodney Terry.
We think Xavier's going to win. I don't know if it's out of spite because we don't think Texas should be in the field or what, but we definitely both are on Xavier. $5 for Benjamin. Any chance for Arkansas to beat Kansas and then St. John's to come out of the Providence and make the Sweet 16? They get back Boogie Fland. I mentioned that earlier. He practiced today, per John Rothstein, per John Calipari. So we'll have the best player on Arkansas back. Or one, maybe he's the best player, maybe he's not, but top pro guy potentially in Boogie Flam. I know I just said I think twice, but I believe Arkansas can beat Kansas. Like, I wouldn't be shocked by either result.
Agree.
I also wouldn't be shocked if either one of them beat St. John's.
You wouldn't be shocked if either one beats.
I'm picking St. John's to go to the Final Four. I wouldn't be shocked.
Okay, so you're not, it's my take about Kansas beating St. John's isn't the craziest thing you've ever heard.
Correct.
Okay. I feel like I was like a leper there, like, I'm speaking against the Lord or something. I mean, I guess I am at St. John's, but I really think, like, if it comes down to it in a close game, like, I know it's crazy to say, I trust Kansas to make the free throws they need to make.
Yeah, it's tough. All right, Whiskey Renegade coming in with a 5. Appreciate you. Could you explain why game times would affect games too early and late, both bad for a team? I mean, yeah, you're basically saying it right now because, like, here's the example I'll make when looking at these times. Like, and I said this very early with the BYU, VCU, Wisconsin, Montana quadrant. That quadrant is being played in, I want to double check. It is being played in.
It's like in the morning. For local time.
Did I say VCU is on the first day? Yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. VCU BYU is being played in Denver. So think about this. VCU is from Virginia. BYU is from Utah Western area, right? And then
also Mountain Time.
Montana and Wisconsin are also in that quadrant. So you have Wisconsin traveling from east to west. You have VCU traveling from east to west. Montana and BYU, they get to hang out up there, which means, 1, their fans will travel more likely because they're closer. 2, they're used to that time of basketball. No matter when it's played, it's on their normal body clocks. Meanwhile, the other 2 are having to adjust, despite it maybe just being an hour, 2 hours. Yeah, so it is a little bit different because routines is something that matters a lot in sports. And if you usually get shots up 5 hours before the game, and that usually comes at 1 p.m., 2 p.m., but now that's coming at
8 a.m.?
8 a.m., and that's already a different time for your body internally. Like, that stuff does matter. It's not, like, crazy.
Yeah.
But it matters a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
I agree.
So
that's
kind of why I think BYU makes out of that quadrant. Their fans will travel, and
they got a great draw with location.
They're better than VCU talent-wise, although I think VCU can beat them. And I think they're on par talent-wise with Wisconsin. So the fact that they're playing in their neck of the woods, they're hot, I think BYU is going to come out of that group. I think it comes out of that group.
Yeah. Great thing is we're going to find out.
Yes, we are this week. Boy, am I excited.
It's the best.
Boy, am I excited. All right. Still 1,300 people watching. We'll stay live if we continue to get some super chats. You ask us questions. Not, I think it's a good time to put on the shot clock.
Sure.
Been live for damn near 3 hours, 7 minutes away from that.
The longest time that we've ever been live on a selection show.
By an hour.
Yeah.
I think, well, we were live for an hour 56 last year.
Okay.
We were live for 2 hours and 25 minutes the first year.
Okay.
So this is certainly the longest without a question. But the audience has been the best without a question.
Yeah, you guys have been killing it today. Appreciate all the love and support. We're fired up, man, for this tournament.
Shout out Mike Dibble sending in $250.
Dibble, absolute legend.
Shout out Mitchell Wren sending in $100.
Going
Crazy.
bar for bar. Yep.
Appreciate the $5 from Whiskey, from Benjamin, from Waldo, from Jordan, from Camden. Anybody who has donated, it certainly helps us continue to grow here. We're going under construction right now at Chat Sports. We just built like 18 studios. We expanded our office. We hired six new employees. So this stuff matters. When you guys like the video, you comment, you subscribe. These $5 donations, they might seem very little, but I'm telling you, it means a lot.
They go a long way.
It shows us and our bosses that we should do more stuff like this, and it's really awesome. So appreciate all you guys.
Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That's totally free.
That is free. That is free indeed. Man, Smitty, thoughts on the bracket as we wind down here with 40 seconds to go? Just like overarching, I don't want to just sit here for a minute waiting. I want to know your thoughts.
I mean, I think they gave paths to, like, I feel like the committee was very very purposeful with how they made this bracket this year. They have clear paths for a couple different teams to get to certain spots. And that's, I guess, true every season, which is how it all draws out. But feels like St. John's has a very good path to the late second weekend.
I think they got lucky. I've been saying it for a while that if the St. John's wanted to make the Final Four, they needed to somehow avoid Duke and Auburn. They did. I wouldn't have been that concerned with Houston because they play such a similar brand of basketball of physicality, rebounding, effort, defense, where they would be used to that style, and it wouldn't be something that would shock them like Houston does to its opponents so often.
Yeah.
So I would have actually probably welcomed that more than a Florida region if I was a St. John's fan.
Feels like Duke kind of got their path paved for them.
Oh, God. You want it. I will say this. We both said it's the hardest region.
Yes.
But I do think Duke got a pretty favorable draw.
Absolutely. So that's kind of my takeaway, that the committee was very deliberate in their actions this year. And they also committed cardinal sin of putting in a team who's 1-12 in quad one and UNC in the dance.
And a team that's 19-15.
Yep.
That would be the Texas Longhorns. I can't believe
6-12 in conference, and we're rewarding them with a postseason.
I get that side of it being upset. I am just, like, I will say, though, they had a lot of quad one wins.
They had 7 quad one wins. And a team's never been left out with that many.
Will continue to be that much. I think they just value quad one wins. They
also left out a West Virginia team with 6 quad one wins and better overall metrics than Texas.
I will say Texas in quad one games 7-10. That's actually pretty good.
It's really good.
Pretty good. 19-15 record. So outside
half of their games are quad one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how crazy is that? They played 34 games, 17 of them were quad one opportunities.
Trey Johnson stinks.
I will say, in what do we know about the committee? One thing can always be said. They prioritize quad one usually, which is why we're so stunned with North Carolina.
Crazy.
And they penalize quad 4 and quad 3 losses.
Yes.
Texas, a perfect 9-0 in quad 3, quad 4, 7 quad 1 wins.
Makes sense.
I understand it. I'm just shocked.
I just don't agree with it.
Yes. I understand, but I don't agree. That's a good way to put it. Mm-hmm. And that is probably going to wrap up our live show today. We appreciate the 100,000 people that tuned in today. Unbelievable. We appreciate all the people who donated, helped us grow, tuned in, because you guys making this such a fun live show, a lengthy one, will just continue to prove to our bosses that we should do this year in, year out. More college basketball content.
Yep.
And maybe even a little bit more Smitty and Rolly action here at Chat Sports, which would always be fun.
Love that.
But appreciate everyone. Smitty, any final words to the people?
Go Bonnies. That's all I know.
This guy's ridiculous.
I had to get it in. We're 3 hours in. We didn't say it once.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, man. I love college hoops.
We mentioned that we were Bonnie alums.
We did. I just love college hoops. Can't wait for this. This is my favorite sporting event of the year, and I'm glad to bring you guys coverage on it.
It's the best sport.
Yep.
I will say that with a capital pounding
Capital
on the table.
B, best.
It is the best. College basketball trumps the NFL. It trumps the NBA. It trumps the MLB.
Yep.
It trumps college football. It trumps everything.
Hockey, don't care.
It's the best. Maybe it's because we're both from the Northeast, but that's just how we feel.
Yep.
All right, that will do it. Appreciate everyone who tuned in. For Nick Roloff, for Tyler Smith, peace out. We'll see you Thursday.
This is March.